Hello guys, in this video we're gonna continue to work on unique items and we're gonna make this can trigger thunder strike on hit. That's the idea. So let's go back to Unity first. And here we need to go to the scripts folder, items, no wait a second. Yeah, items, and I wanna make a new script, C# script. It's gonna be something like thunder strike effect. And I think we could make a folder for effects because we're gonna have a couple of them. So it's gonna be, oh wait a second, again, effects, right? Let's take item effect and thunder strike effect, drag them here. Now we're gonna go to this thunder strike effect and inherit from item effect. Also, we're gonna go to item effect and copy this line of code, go to thunder strike effect, paste this in, add a slash here, and just name it as thunder strike. And new item data gonna be just thunder strike effect. So this one. Now we're gonna delete start and update and override execute effect, in which we don't need the base, but we need to create an effect that we want. And as I said, we're working on a thunder strike, so we're gonna instantiate a prefab of a thunder strike and do setup. And this is very, very, very similar to the skill section we had. Like we had lots of examples there, so this one is very similar to that. And because of that, I'm just gonna do things quickly so you can see how I did them, but I'm not gonna explain as much. All right, and for that we need a game object. It's gonna be serialized field, private game object, thunder strike prefab, and we're gonna make a game object, new thunder strike equals to instantiate thunder strike prefab. And then we're gonna need a script of this prefab to set it up how we want it to behave. So let's just do a to-do, set up new thunder strike. Very good. Now let's go and make a controller for this. We need to go back to Unity. Also, we need an actual game object. So let's go and make game object first. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We're gonna go to graphics, FX, thunder, and there is a very cool thunder strike. Yeah, this one, but I wanna take the one with the glow. This one looks so good, isn't it? Now let's set up the sprite. Gonna be multiple, compression none, filter mode no filter, sprite editor, apply. We're gonna slice it by the cell size and just slice, hit apply. Now I'm gonna take one of the sprites and I wanna take most visible one. So this is okay. Oh, it's so tiny. Thunder strike. We're gonna make sorting layer for this. I don't know how it's gonna look better above or behind the enemy. So I'm gonna just set it to the layer of the player and we're gonna see it later. Also, it's very tiny, so we're gonna change pixel per unit to 16. Yeah, this looks good. 32. No, let's make 16, the bigger one. So it's gonna be like, yeah, very cool. Now we need animator for this, so we're gonna go to assets, animation, controllers, create animator controller, thunder. Oh, we have a thunder strike, but we change it to a shock strike if I'm not wrong. So let's rename this one to shock strike. Wait, shock strike AC, and then create a thunder strike AC, drag it here, and we need animation for this, so we're gonna select it, animation, create new clip, in the animation folder, animations. Oh, this one also. Yeah, this is my mistake, I named it like that before. Let's rename it to shock strike, and while we're on this, let's go and rename it here as well. Shock strike. Also, I'm gonna check if it did not break anything. Hope no. Okay, now let's go back and make a folder for thunder strike. If it did break anything, I'm gonna fix it. Thunder strike idle, save. Now let's go to graphics, FX, thunder strike, and take these, place them here, sample rate, let's try 15 and see how it looks. Boom. Whoa. This one is so high quality, but I think it's going to be triggered on the attack, so we don't have time for this kind of preparation. We could use this if boss trigger this kind of attack, like so, but if it's for the enemy only and we trigger it on hit, I think we should remove these 4 sprites and try like that. Boom. Yeah, should be instant. All right, let's take that animation and switch off loop and thunder strike. Yeah, it did break everything. We have a shock strike and thunder strike. Can you assemble it, man? Yeah. Okay, let me see. Thunder strike. This one has the animation and shock strike. All right, guys, I think I broke it, so let's fix it right now. My bad, I know I'm a very bad person, but what to do? Shock strike, I'm gonna check it. The animator of this. By the way, this one looks even cooler. But yeah, I did break it. Let's go here, find thunder strike hit here, and change it to a shock strike. Shock strike hit. And also we're gonna rename it. What the hell, man? Oh, I broke completely everything, did I? And I saved my project. I'm so stupid. Okay, there is easy way to fix it. I'm gonna go and find animations, animation, shock strike. These 2 animations, I'm gonna delete them both. Delete it. Now I'm gonna take this shock strike animator and create a new clip in a shock strike folder. It's gonna be shock strike idle. We're gonna set up animation just again, that's it, very simple. FX, thunder, thunder strike, and here we're gonna take the second sprite. This is the idle. Now let's set up shock strike hit. Shock strike hit. Let's take how it was. I don't remember how it was. Like so. Sample rate 15. Okay. Very nice. I guess this is enough. Now let me see the animator of this. We have shock strike. We're gonna delete this and delete this. Make shock strike idle by default and make transition to shock strike hit with a condition of a hit, exit time unchecked, duration 0. Now go back. This is shock strike AC, which is correct. Gonna override. No, we don't need even override. Okay, this should be fine now. I should check it. Is it fine? Yeah. All right. We're gonna see it also in the action later. If no, we can fix it when we see it. All right. So I'm gonna delete it and go back to my thunder strike. Sorry about that. Sometimes people can do mistakes, I guess. Now, this one has only one animation that can be triggered on start, and I think that is good enough. We need a script that will trigger a damage when you hit the enemy, somewhere here. We also need an area where it's going to be hit, and I think that's it. Yeah, basically that's it, all what we need. So what I want to do is what we always did. We're going to make a parent for this, create empty parent, gonna name it as thunder strike, and this gonna have a hit and script of a trigger, and this one will just play animation. So let's add component, a new script. It's gonna be controller, and I want to check how did we name shock strike before. So we have same names. It was skills, I guess. No, it wasn't. Where it was? Controllers, shock strike controller. Yeah, very good. Let's make another one. Thunder strike controller. And we're gonna place it on the thunder strike. Here we need one simple thing. We're gonna delete update, and I'm gonna get private player stats. We're gonna get component of this from the player manager in the start. So it's gonna be player stats equals to player manager.instance.get component of player stats. Cool. And we need onTrigger enter function. So it's gonna be onTrigger enter 2D. It's gonna check if there is an enemy in the collision. So if collision get component of the enemy not equals to null, then we just take player stats, do magical damage, I guess, because this is the thunder, and as a target we can take collision. So I'm gonna do simple creation here so it's easier to read. Enemy stats, enemy target equals to collision get component of enemy stats, and then we're gonna just pass enemy target here. Nice, very nice. Now we need to go and set up prefab for this thunder strike effect. And we also gonna make this file as a prefab. So let's go back to Unity. Here we want to make a trigger for this. It's gonna be circle collider 2D is trigger. I think radius can be just 1. And let's place it at the center of the enemy and then take the visual part, animator, and move it just above so it is kind of in the center as well, just like so. Now let me double check. Yep, this looks about right. What if we place it with the offset of 0.9? Yeah, this is better. So it's gonna hit him like so. Boom. All right, good. Now let's go to prefab folder and drag it here to make it as a prefab. Very good. Now we can delete it. We can go to scripts. No, wait, we need to go to data, item effects. This one was created as a placeholder. We don't need it. And we need to make a new one. Data, item effect, thunder strike. Okay, thunder strike effect. And now we need a prefab here. I'm gonna click this locket, go to prefab folder and drag it here. So it is set and we can unlock this. Cool. Now we need to go back to setup of the thunder strike in the thunder strike effect. And it's gonna be a bit tricky because we need a position where we want to spawn it, and we want to spawn it on the top of the enemy, but we don't have any reference to that here. So we could do it in the only way we could pass it through execute effect. And that's what we have to do. So let's just type here transform enemy position. And we're gonna go to instantiate and type here comma enemy position dot position. For the rotation, just going to be Cortanian identity. Now we need to add this to the execute effect on the item effect as well. So I'm going to copy this, just copy, go here and paste it in. Now we need to also pass this information at the place we call this function, and that happens on the item data equipment. So over here, we're going to pass transform enemy position and just here enemy position. This is good. Now this will work. And the last step is the player animation trigger at the place we actually executing. And I think, yeah, so we have to type something like target transform position. Good. What? Oh, target transform. And I think we can rename this to just effect. Yeah, this will be much better. So it's like inventory instance, get equipment weapon effect. Yeah, much more logical, right? And item data, we have effect, which executes each effect in the list. Perfect. Now, yeah, this is good. We don't need to set up this now. I'm going to save this all. Go back to Unity. We're going to find our Thunderclaw equipment, Thunderclaw. And I'm going to hit this icon and find Thunder Strike effect. Good. Now let's go and try this. We only need to assign starting item here. So it's going to be plus Thunderclaw, and we can go to play mode now, equip the item, and try this. Boom. Yeah, good. This works. Now there are a couple of things we need to do. This looks so cool. I like it. First of all, the switch off loop of the animation, something I forgot to do. Animations, Thunder Strike, loop time uncheck. And second, we want to destroy this object because, you know, it cannot be there forever. Let's make sure it is transparent once it's played the animation. So we go find, wait a second, prefab, Thunder Strike. Let's go to animation and see how it looks on the last frame. Like so. So can we add one empty sprite? What do you think? I think we have it somewhere. FX, Thunder. This one has an empty sprite, so I'm just gonna drag it here. Okay, so it's gonna look like boom and then empty. Perfect. And now we need to delete it after we respawned it, like after some time. So let's go back to code. And here we can do destroy new Thunder Strike in, I don't know, 0.5f. Just like that. Or even 1 second, just to be sure. All right, now we can delete it from the scene. Go to play mode and try again. Boom, I love it. Now what is the error? All right, I forgot to type here .player. Now it's supposed to be fine. Let's go and try again. Gonna put it on and boom. All right, it's fine. Although he's hit with the fire damage because we have a lot of fire damage on the player. Let me double check. Player stats. Fire damage 1. Let's try again. Supposed to be shocked enemy. Right? It's a common attack. Whoa, what is it? Something with a common attack. I'll double check. Boom. Cool. Now what was about the common attack? No, it's fine. But I've seen an error just now. I want to know what is it. All right, I guess it's about not having a weapon at all. All right, let's do a function that's gonna do a private void weapon effect, which gonna have item data equipment, weapon data, and it's gonna be equals to inventory.instance.get equipment over type, equipment type weapon. And after that, we're gonna say if weapon data not equals to null, then we can call this effect. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna type then weapon data effect, and we pass, oh, we need a target here. All right. So we pass here. Well, let's not make a function. Let's just paste it in here. Like so. It's gonna be target stats. Target. What is it? Target transform. Right, gonna save this. It was happening because we did not have weapon equipped, but we tried to get access of the equipment and it was null and it gave us an error. Let's try again. No weapon. Okay, it's fine. Yes, weapon is fine. And shock strike. I mean thunder strike. Perfect. I've got an idea how we could make it a bit cleaner. So let's go back to this thunder strike controller, and I think we can make this protected, because we're gonna override it in the next video. It's gonna be protected virtual void, and as well as this one, protected virtual void start. And just like so, we actually could have only onTrigger enter function here. For real. Well, let's try do it that way with only onTrigger enter function. Player stats with the name of player stats equals to player manager, and this is going to be deleted just on trigger enter. Cool, right? Very same, just less of a code. All right, let's wrap this up and go to next video. I'll see you there. We're gonna make ice and fire effect. Should be cool. Hello guys, in this video we're going to make ice and fire effect, and I actually want to override the script of a thunder controller, right? This one, because this one basically does magical damage, and another ice and fire effect that we have on my Figma board over here gonna do basically the same. And as we know, we do magic damage of all of the elements, just the higher element applies the ailment, so that's how it's working. And because of that, I think we pretty much can override this script. Where is it? Give me a second, I'll close this one. Okay, so we can override this one and use it. Let's go to scripts, controllers. Here we have shock strike, thunder strike, and I'm gonna make C# ice and fire controller. Let's override from thunder strike controller, and we're gonna just do override on trigger enter, and that's it. Now let's go back and set up the controller itself, I mean the skill. We need to go to graphics, find the fix, ice and fire. Let's make it as a compression none, no filter, 16 per unit, and now we can take one sprite, drag it to the scene. It's gonna look like so, with a certain layer of a player. Yeah, that's how it's going to look. I think pretty much okay. Let's name it as animator, and we're gonna put animator on this, so we need to create it. Animation, controllers. This one is ice and fire AC. Let's put it on the animator and create animation clip. Animation, animations, create ice and fire, and just ice and fire idle. Well, basically there is only one animation, so it doesn't matter. Let's go to graphics again, find it, ice and fire, and take the sprites, put them on like so, with maybe 15 of a sample rate. Too fast. So let's try 10. Could be faster, maybe 12. Let's leave it at 12 and see how it's gonna act in the game. All right. I'm planning to have this one flying off the camera, like it can go through the ground, through everything very far ahead. Let's take this animator, create empty parent for this, and it's gonna be ice and fire, and we need a circle collider for this one, so we can trigger, on trigger enter damage is trigger. Let's make radius of 1, and add component of a new script. Oh no, wait, not a new script, we just created the script. My bad, sorry. Controllers, ice and fire, right? This is the one. All right, good. Now we can use it. And the only task is to make it move. The idea is that with the third attack, you launch in this projectile and it goes forward, like hitting all the enemies on the way. That's how we want to do it. We could make it move in two ways. We could have a setup function that will make ice and fire move towards some direction, or we could put rigid body and get access to the rigid body and set velocity of a rigid body. There are two different ways. Let me see how we have thunder strike effect. So we just instantiating, and we could do same for ice and fire, and we could get access to the rigid body from execute effect, so it will move. Yeah, let's try it. So we don't have to make a setup function here, and we don't have to pass values. Let's put a rigid body on it, rigid body 2D, but we're gonna have 0 gravity scale, and let's remove rotation on the Z. Perfect. Now let's go and create this ice and fire effect script. We're gonna go to items inventory, effects, create C# script, ice and fire effect. Ice and fire effect. Let's do close all but this. I'm gonna open thunder strike and item effect so I can see how it was, because I kinda don't remember. We need to override from item effect, and we need this line of code. So we're gonna override, give it a name of ice and fire, and here default name would be ice and fire effect. And let's inherit from item effect. Good. Now we need a prefab of ice and fire. So it's gonna be serialize field, private game object, ice and fire prefab. Is it the same here? Yes, it is the same. Good. Now let's do override of execute effect. In here we have enemy position, which we use as a respawn position. So why don't we rename it to like a respawn position? And if we respawn in Thunderstrike, we can respawn it on the enemy. If we respawn in Ice and Fire, we can respawn it where we want to, at the player's position, for example. So I'm gonna do RR respawn position. Yeah. Now we don't need the base here. What we need as a game object, new ice and fire equals to instantiate. We're gonna have ice and fire prefab, respawn position, and for the rotation, we want to take rotation of the player. So if player faces right, this object gonna go right. If player faces left, we're gonna take player's rotation and it's gonna face left. So for that, we need reference to a player, right? We're gonna have transform player equals to player manager.instance.player.transform. And here we can just take player rotation. What is it? We need to type dot position here. My bad. Now we can get access to the rigid body of this object and give it velocity. Let's make a vector2 for velocity. So serialized field, private vector2 velocity. And we're gonna go here and type new ice and fire, get component of rigid body to d dot velocity equals to velocity. All right. Let's name it as new velocity. All right, good. So this is how it's going to work. Now we can try this. Let's go and try this. Yeah, we're gonna go to Unity. We're gonna go to data, item effect, create, data, item effect, ice and fire. All right, now we need new velocity. It's gonna be, let's say, 15 on the X and 0 on the Y. And ice and fire prefab, we need this object. So we're gonna go to prefab folder and put it here. Cool, now we have it. We can remove it from here. Go back to our data, item effect, ice and fire, lock it, and add prefab. Okay, now we need a weapon that will use this effect. Let's unlock the inspector. Data, equipment, create data equipment, ice and fire, which is, let me take the name, which is ice and fire icon. I have it here, PG6, this one. Okay, this is a weapon. Drop chances, let's say 6%. Item effect, we drag here, ice and fire effect. Very cool. Let's give it some stats like fire damage 5, ice damage 5, for example. And let's give it a go. We're gonna go to player, no wait, to inventory and add this sword. So we have it on the start, ice and fire, and let's try this. Oh, white is in materials. Did I not change the type? Yes, I did not. Equipment. Okay. Equip and boom. Nice. I like it. And if I go to left side, oh, it did not change the it's funny, it did change the rotation, but it did not change the velocity, you see? It just facing other way. Okay, we're gonna fix it. And also I wanna trigger this ability on a third attack only. So let's begin with the third attack. Let's go to the script we have, ice and fire effect, and here we need access to the combo counter that we have on the primary attack state here. So what I want to do is to make this public and make it get private set, so we can get access to this information. Let's go back to ice and fire, and we already have access to the component of a player. So I'm gonna just do bool third attack equals to player, get component of a player. Then we're gonna get access to the primary attack, combo counter equals to 2, because 2 is the third attack if we count in from 0, right? And then we're gonna say if third attack Then we're gonna do all of this. Now it's supposed to be triggered only on the third attack. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Love it. Very nice. Now there is an issue with the velocity. If we set velocity to the right side, it's gonna go to the right side. And here we have two options. One, we can check facing direction of a player, and two, we can check rotation of the object. But actually, why don't we just, let's use facing direction of the player. It is public get private set, if I'm not wrong. Let me see. On the entity, it is on the entity. Yeah, so we can get this information. Very nice. I love how this system is built. It is so easy to access info we need at different places now. First of all, I want to change this from transform to player, because now we're getting component of a player more often than a transform. So it's going to be just like player. Now here we don't need to get component, we can just type player.primary attack. And here we need to do player.transform.rotation. Very good. Now the direction, the facing direction, we're gonna take this and make it as a new vector 2. And let's actually make this as a float of the x velocity, because anyway we don't want it to go vertically. If you want it to go vertically, you can do that. But we don't want to do that. I mean, I don't want to do that. So it's going to be a float x velocity. Now here at the velocity, we're going to do x velocity multiplied by player facing direction. And for the y, it's going to be 0. That's it. And in this simple way, two of the problem were solved very quickly. Let's go and try this now. Gonna, oh, wait a second, ice and fire. It doesn't move now because I did not change the data. My bad. Ice and fire effect, x velocity. Let's try 10. Boom, nice. Now let's try to the left side. Works perfectly. Okay, cool. Now let's delete this after 10 seconds. I'm gonna do just destroy new ice and fire after 10 seconds. Supposed to be fine. Let me see, is it destroyed? Yeah, it is. Let me try ice damage, more of a ice damage. I'm gonna put here 0, 0 of the lightning, and ice damage just 1 as a base value. And I'm gonna put another skeleton behind to see how it feels. Nice. So now it makes sense to be on the right direction when you hit it with a sword. If you want to hit more enemies, you want to be from the left side. Nice. Cool. Oh, what is it? Okay, let's deal with it now. What is it? I think it because it detected stats, but when enemy died, there were no stats, so we could not implement this trigger. Let's just type here if target not equals to null. I'm gonna try again. It's fine now. All right, very good. I'll see you in the next video. Hello guys, we already have done this, and this part gonna be pretty much a couple of seconds and 2 lines of code to do, so we're gonna do it in this video. And regarding healing flask, fire flask, and armor plate, we're gonna do it in the next video. All right, let's go back to Unity first. And we're gonna find places we do magical damage. We can find it through the player stats, Let's go to character stats. Here we have a place of doing magical damage. Right, so magical damage usually done by our abilities, if I'm not wrong. And we could just call for a weapon here. So like if there is such weapon, implement this effect. But I want to have a bit more of a control over this. So we're gonna trigger equipment only from the places where ability do damage. So let's go and find our skills. And crystal does magical damage, if I'm not wrong. This is considered an ability, so let's go there. I'm gonna do close all but this. And here, damage done through skill controller. So let's go to definition. Find the place where we damaging the enemy. Here it is. Explosion event. So here, I'm gonna add the curly brackets. And then we're gonna do item data equipment, equipped amulet, which is gonna be equals to inventory, instance get equipment of a type amulet, and then if equipped amulet not equals to null, we're gonna take equipped amulet and call for effect. And we need to pass position of the enemy, so let's just pass kit.transform. Good. Now let's go try to create amulet, put thunder effect on it, and let's see how it goes. Gonna go to data equipment. Let's make data equipment. This is gonna be, what was the name? Amulet of God, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. All right. Let's make it equipment. Amulet of God. We need an icon. BG6. Let's take the icon. Oh, this one will do. If you want to put some stats on it, just do it. Let's say we have 10 lightning damage here, and magic resistance 15, and health, so I don't know, 20, let's say. Equipment type, amulet, item effect, gonna be Thunderstrike. Perfect. Now let's add this to a start equipment list. You see how easy it is now to make new items with this effect? Just, you know, couple of steps to do. I'm gonna equip it and I'm gonna hit enemy with a crystal. Boom. Nice. Now I'm a shock thunder striking demon. Very nice. We also could implement this effect of the ability on a sword damage, which would be even cooler. So I want to see it. Let's go and try this. We're gonna go back to the scripts. We need to find a sword skill controller that is in the controllers, skill controllers, sword skill controller. Gonna do close. No, wait a second. I don't want to do close all but this. I want to take this code, copy it. Let's copy. Okay, now let's go to sword skill controller. And if I remember it correctly, somewhere here, oh, we have so much of extra stuff. Let's do cleanup. All right. So if I remember it correctly, we somewhere here have a sword damage function. Something like that. Sword skill damage. Yeah, perfect. Good. This is so nice. I love it. This system is just so cool. I'm coming back to this. Honestly, you may be watching this video, you know, like all videos in 1 week, but for me it took months to record this. So I'm coming back to this part after months. I don't remember what is written here, and when I see how it works, I'm just so proud of myself in the past. Yeah, we can easily implement the damage now. So let's just paste in here, item data equipment, equipment amulet, and we need transform. It's gonna be enemy transform. That's it. I'm gonna save this, go back. Let's equip the amulet and let's add sword for bounce. In a skill manager, we're gonna find sword skill, bounce, bounce amount 4. All right, let's go, boy. Let them go further away from each other and boom, boom, boom. Whoa. Oh my God. This is so cool. How about spin? And whoa. Nice. By the way, we did not make this movement of a spin sword in the skill section. It just was me trying stuff. If you want to see how it's done, where is it? Sword skill controller, spin logic. Yeah, here I'm just moving a sword towards the right side, towards the positive vector 2. But I'm gonna show how to do this on the polish stage correctly, because now we also need to make it move to the left side, which is not done yet. So yeah, this is not how it's supposed to be yet. It will be like that in the future. Let's try again. Sword type, spin. I'm gonna equip the amulet. And try again. Whoa, this is so badass. This just destroys the enemies, right? This should be very powerful amulet. Like it should be very difficult to get item like that, because you see how easy it is to destroy enemies right now. Okay guys, I think that was pretty cool, and let's go to the next video. We're gonna make a healing effect. I'll see you there. Hello guys, in this video we're gonna make a flask and a healing effect, and also as a tip I want to show you how you could make a weapon that will heal you when you hit enemies with simple attacks. I guess by now you should know how to do that, but anyway I'm gonna show you that because once more I want to prove how cool this system is, how easily you can make different weapons with different effects. First of all, we need a script for heal on the item. We need a heal effect. Let's go to scripts, find item, effects, and here we're gonna make a new script, C# heal effect. I'm gonna open this. Here what I want to do is I want to go to item effect, and I want to cut out this line of code, because we're never going to create just item effect from the asset menu, so we don't need it here. I'm going to cut it out, and I guess I don't need this script anymore. I'm going to save it and close it. Here on the heal effect I'm going to paste this in, put slash and name it as heal effect, and here we're going to change the name as well, just heal effect as a default name. Now we're going to inherit from item effect, we're going to delete start and update, and we're going to make override of the execute function, and we don't need the base here. Now what we want here is to get player stats, then decide how much to heal, and then actually heal. Okay, so first let's get stats of the character. It's going to be player stats equals to player manager.instance.player.getComponent of player stats. Very good. Now we need to decide how much to heal, and for that we can make a serialized field, private float, heal %, and we want it to have as a percentage. So I'm going to make a range from 0f to 1f. Now here I'm going to do int heal amount, which is going to be equals to, we need maximum health multiplied by heal percentage. So let's say we can heal 30% of the health with a flask, or 2% of the health when you hit the enemy, something like that. So we're going to do player stats, get max health value multiplied by heal %. And we can see it gives us an error because we're trying to convert float to int. So what we can do again is just do round to int, mathf round to int, and this will do. Now we need to heal the character, and of course we could do player stats current health plus equals heal amount, but not exactly right to do. So instead I want to delete this, go to character stats. We can find them somewhere here on the right side. And there is a function decrease health by, and I want to make similar function increase health by. Here it is, decrease health by, so I'm going to make a function, and this time it should be public, so it's going to be public virtual void increase health by int amount. Here we're going to do current health plus equals amount. Then we want to check if current health is not bigger than maximum health. If it is, we're going to set it to max. So if current health bigger than get max health value, then current health equals to get max health value. Perfect. And we need this on health changed event so we can update UI. So if on health changed not equals to null, then on health changed. Cool. We can close this, save and close. And in the heal effect now, we just take player stats, increase health by heal amount. Perfect. Now we can use this item effect in different cases. And before we create a flask effect, let me show you how to use it with a sword. So it's going to be on hit heal effect, and as well it's going to help us to debug all the functionality before we make a new one for the cooldown and everything. All right, so I'm going to go back to Unity. In the data item effect, we need to create data item effect heal effect, and I'm going to name it as heal on hit. And because we're testing this, I'm going to make a big percentage, let's say 0.1. 0.1 is actually a lot for healing on hit, but what to do? We're testing this. In the data equipment, we're going to make a new sword, data equipment. Let's name it as Dracula's sword. Okay, I'm going to copy the name, paste it in here, and find the icon. This one looks like a Dracula sword to me, so I'm going to choose this one. Let's make it equipment type weapon, item type equipment, drop chance, well, some drop chance, doesn't matter. Item effect, which is important, we're going to add heal on hit. And we can give it some stats, let's say crit chance 15, damage 15, whatever it is, it's all up to you what you want to put here, all right? Doesn't matter really, because we're still testing this. Now we need to add this item to the inventory as a starting equipment. Dracula sword, and we can go and try this. It's supposed to work. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. So now I'm supposed to heal myself when I hit the enemy. Hey boy. And yeah, indeed we can see I'm healing, although it's not really enough to... Oh no, it's enough. Yeah, that was good. And you could modify this weapon as you understand, as much as you want. You could put a thunder effect here, and it would work perfectly together. You would heal and you would hit with the thunder, which is also very cool, but I guess enemy wouldn't stand a chance here. Hey boy. Yeah, this all works good. Now let's make an item flask, so it will heal player with a cooldown, and also we could then improve the flask with some buff effect if we want to. All right, so what we need to do here is to make an item of the flask, and we need to activate it from somewhere. Let's go create data equipment. This should be equipment flask, healing flask. I'm gonna copy the name, paste it in here so it is the same. Let's find an icon, bg6 underscore. This one looks like a flask to me, so I'm gonna choose this, and we need an item effect, a new one. Let's go to data item effect and make data item effect heal effect. It's going to be flask heal, and this one can be stronger, let's say 30% of the health. All right, and then we're gonna go back to equipment of the flask. Here it is, and put flask heal, which is cool. And go to inventory, add default equipment healing flask. Now we have it on the equipment, but we don't have a way of activating it. So we need to do that. And I suggest we call this flask from the inventory so we also can control cooldown of the flask on the inventory. Let's go to the scripts. First of all, let's go to player, and we're gonna open inventory as well. Inventory. Good. So on the player, in the update where we have all of the input, we're gonna do something like if input get key down, key code, we can use alpha1, which is number 1 on the keyboard. So then we're gonna do debug log, use flask, right? Now we need this function use flask, and we're gonna have it on the inventory. Let's make a header. Items cooldown, let's say. All right, and we're gonna have private float flask cooldown and private float last time used flask. Very good. Now let's go all the way down and make a function here, public void use flask, in which we need to do a couple of things.
First of all, we need to know cooldown of this flask, and we don't have it yet, so we can create it on the item data. Here in the item data, I'm gonna just make another value, or better on the item data equipment, I guess, because this one only for the equipment at the moment. So we can type here public float item cooldown. Very good, gonna save this and go back to my inventory. Now what we wanna do here, we wanna check if can use, so we need to check cooldown. Then we wanna use the flask and set cooldown, right? Let's use the flask first. We're gonna do item data equipment because we're gonna access this data a lot. We can just place it all above and type here flask data, or even better, current flask. Current flask equals to get equipment of the item type flask. Now let's make a boolean that says can use. Bool can use flask equals to time.time bigger than last time used flask plus flask cooldown. Or I believe we don't even need to use a flask cooldown value. We can just type here current flask item cooldown. Yeah, this is much better. So we don't need that header. All right. Now if can use flask, then we're going to just take current flask and do effect. And we can pass transform as a null because we don't need it on the flask. And then we're gonna set last time used flask equals to time.time. And then else we're gonna set debug log flask on cooldown. All right, I guess that's it. I only want to go and remove that value because I didn't use it, so I don't need it. All right, this is better. Now let's go down, double check this. We take the flask, we check cooldown of the flask. Then if there is a no cooldown, we can use the flask and set cooldown, else we debug flask is on cooldown. Now let's go back to player, to the input, and instead of use flask, I'm gonna do inventory .instance.use flask. All right, this is better. Now I'm gonna try to, oh, we need to make a null check reference just in case. All right, I'm gonna do if current flask equals to null, then return. Yeah, let's go now. Gonna equip the flask and I'm gonna let him hit me. I'm gonna use it, boom, healed, and oh, I healed again. Oh, I did not set cooldown, right? We need to find a flask and set cooldown. Equipment, where is it? Healing flask. Let's say cooldown is 5 seconds. All right. I'm gonna equip it, let him damage me. Open the console and I healed, and then flask on cooldown. And then I healed again. Good. Now let's make a buff effect. So some flask can not only heal, but give you improvement on the stats as well. For that, we're gonna go back to script. We need a character stats somewhere here. Now we're gonna go somewhere and make a new function. Let me find where. All right, just here under the update, I'm gonna do public virtual void increase stat by, and here we need to know the modifier, like how much is the increasement. So int modifier. Then we want to know for how long we're going to increase this value. So float duration and what stat we want to improve. So it's going to be stat to modify. All right. Here we're just going to do simple thing. We're going to start a coroutine for stat increase. All right. And then we need enumerator. We did something similar when we slowed entity. Stat mod coroutine. Coroutine, if that's correct way to spell it. I'm not sure. Let me double check. Start coroutine. Okay, it's gonna be private. And it will do one simple thing. It will take all of these modes as well. Then it's gonna take stat to modify, add modifier of modifier, then yield return new wait for seconds. We're gonna take duration, and then stat modifier, remove modifier of the modifier. And now we can start this coroutine over here by passing the very same stats. So it's going to be, what was that? Stat mod coroutine, and we pass modifier, duration, and stat to modify. Good, I'm going to save this all, and now we can go back and create a script for a buff effect. Let's go. We're going to go to scripts of the items and inventory. In the effects, we're going to make a new script. That's gonna be C# script, and I'm gonna name it as buff effect. Now this one will require a bit of work to do, but it's gonna save us lots of time in the long run. All right, I wanna show you how to make one script that will allow you to make a bunch of scriptable objects with different buffs. All right, so what we need to do here is go to heal effect, copy this asset menu, go back to buff effect, paste this in. So this is gonna be a buff effect, and this one gonna be buff effect. We're gonna inherit from item effect. And as of now, I can do close all but this. Now here, we want to decide what stat we want to modify, by how much, and for how long. All right, so first of all, I wanna get a player stats variable. Sorry, let's name it as just stats. Then we need serialized field, private int buff amount, and we need serialized field, private int buff duration. Then we're gonna execute effect. So it's gonna be override, execute effect. We don't need the base. We need to access player stats component. So it's gonna be stats equals to player manager.instance.player.get component of player stats. And here we just take stats and call increase stat by, we pass buff amount, buff duration, and stat we want to modify. And we could create a script for each effect, like for armor one script, for fire damage another script. But what I want to do is to make one kind of long tedious function, but it will help us to decide what stat we modify, and we can do it all with the same scriptable objects later. All right, so here, instead of just passing stats armor, for example, we're gonna have a function. And of course, we need to choose what stat we want to modify. So I'm gonna make an enum. Let's make public enum stat type. And here we're gonna pass all of the possible stats we have. For that, I'm gonna open character stats because I don't remember them all. Put it on my left screen so I can see it, and I'm gonna just copy it. But you can type from my screen. So it's gonna be, okay, wasn't so long to do. Now we want to declare this variable here, serialized field, private stat type, buff type, and now I'm gonna just close this because I don't want to see it. And now I need a private stat that will return a stat, and is gonna be just stat to modify. All right, so we're gonna check each buff type and then give a result that we want. So it's gonna be like so. If buff type equals to stat type strengths, then return strengths. Yeah, very good. That's what we need. Until sense understands me very good. I only want to remove this and type else if buff type equals to agility, return stats agility. Else if buff type equals to stat type All right, so I decided to type it this way. Kind of confusing, but I know what to do. I'm just gonna return null in other case if none of these if statement were met. And yeah, believe me, this is gonna save us much more time than it took, because we just took some time to type all of this, and even IntelliSense helped me to fill this up quickly. But in opposite, we would supposed to make a script for each stat, which also very, very slow to do. So now I'm gonna uncomment this, and instead of stat armor, I'm gonna choose stat to modify.
And just like so, we created a script that will allow us to make as many buffs as we want. Let's go back to Unity and try this. Gonna go to data, item effects. Let's create data item buff effect. It's gonna be armor buff. Let's choose buff type armor, buff amount, let's say 50, buff duration 7 seconds. Let's make another one. Create data item, create data item effect, buff effect, fire buff. It's gonna be fire damage, buff amount, let's say 15, duration, I don't know, 5. And let's make one more buff that will increase your, let's say, damage with each hit, which can be, you know, there are many things like that, many items I saw of this kind. Like with each hit, you stack in some buff. You can stack damage, you can stack crit chance, anything. Like the more you hit, the more crit chance you have, let's say. So let's go data, item effect, buff effect, fire damage on hit, buff. All right, this is gonna give you just maybe 3 of the fire damage for the duration of 2 seconds, which also very good. Now let's make an items that can use these buffs. We're gonna go to data equipment, we're gonna make, and I guess we need to organize this by now because we have lots of items here. So let's make a folder for weapon, and we're gonna take Dracula sword, stolen sword, thunderclaw, and wooden sword, put it here. Make another one for armor. By the way, this is also a weapon. We don't have an we have one. Let's create C# script data. Oh no, wait. Folder flask, and we're gonna make folder for amulet. Good. Now back in the flask, we're gonna create a fire flask equipment. Fire flask. Copy. Paste the name. BG6. Let's choose, I don't know, this one. And we can put item effect, fire buff, equipment type flask, item type equipment, fire flask is the name. And let's make another one, create C# data item effect. Oh, wait, equipment, flask, armor flask, icon. Let's choose, I don't know, this one. Let's say item cooldown is 15 seconds. Item effect, we can use armor buff. And let's say we have heal effect as well on the same item. So we're not only doing buff of the armor, but we heal the character. This is a really powerful flask that can be given from a boss fight, let's say. All right, and I want to make a weapon that will increase your damage with a hit. So I'm going to go to equipment, weapon, and make, well, actually, we could use this on ice and fire. Let's just add effect of fire damage on hit. And let's increase ice damage to 7. So first attack going to be with the ice damage, then you get in fire damage buff on hit, and next attack would be a fire damage. And also I want to make sure we proc magical attack together with the primary attack. So let's go to character stats and change it just by a bit. Here at the place we do damage, I'm just gonna type do magical damage to target stats, like that. And we're gonna leave a comment that says remove if you don't want to apply magic hit on primary attack. All right, should be cool. Now let's go add these items to the inventory. Inventory plus. We have ice and fire. We have armor flask, and we have fire flask. Let me double check the data. Yeah, we have it. Okay. Fire buff, we have it. Fire damage on hit, we have it. Heal on hit, yeah, we used it before. And let's go to play mode. Yeah, I've got so many items, I don't even remember which flask is which. So I'm gonna take this first. I'm gonna find player stats. Make sure we have 0 on the magic stats, 0, 0, 0. And I'm gonna use it. And
what it gives me. Oh, it is on cooldown. Give me a sec. And boom, we've got armor 50. So now I'm much more durable. Yeah, you see how less he got from me? Now I'm gonna come again and see this time. Boom, more than half of the HP. So this is how it works. Let's also try to heal with this flask. It worked, it healed me. Now let's try the ice and fire weapon and a common flask for the healing. I healed, good. Now let's try this fire damage flask. First of all, I just want to try to apply simple attack because I have fire damage, and on hit, I'm supposed to get a bit of a buff to the fire damage. So I'm supposed to chill him with the first hit and then apply fire damage after that. Let me duplicate and place another skeleton. So come on, boy. Ice and fire. Yeah, he's burning. Something wrong with the ice and fire prefab. It's okay, I'll fix that. I'll fix that now, because we're testing now. Where is this item? Ice and fire. Ice and fire effect. Prefab is missing. For some reason, I'm gonna click the locket, find project prefab, and just drag it here, and continue. Yeah, good. So you've seen first attack was with the ice, then we got buff from the on heat effect, and second attack was fire. Ice, and oh no, he killed me. That's okay. Oh, we need to make player more durable actually for testing this. Let's find armor and give him, let's say, 50 of a base value, because I want to try again. Yeah, ice and ice, but if we place another enemy behind him, the next enemy gonna be on fire, because we're gonna hit him with the ice fire projectile. Wow, this is so cool. I like it so much. Ice fire and fire flask. Let's take the player stats. So we can see he has, this is the player's, I don't remember which flask it is, but I'm just gonna use it to see. It's on cooldown. Okay. Let's wait a bit. Okay, so this flask gives the armor. We can see modifier of the 50 here, and now it's going to disappear after some time. Removed. Cool. Same gonna be with a fire flask. I used flask, I have plus 15 damage, and it's gonna disappear after a while. Boom, disappeared, nothing is here. Now here, we're also gonna have increasement of the fire damage when I attack the enemy. And ice, and next enemy hit with a fire. So it is basically ice and fire. You slow an enemy in front of you, and you burn an enemy behind to damage him, which is so cool. I love it, man. You can see we stack fire damage a bit. Boom. Good. I love it. All right, I showed you how to make a buff, I showed you how to make a heal, I showed you how we can apply those effects on heat or on the flask, or even you could apply it on the armor when enemy hits you. But we're gonna do that in the next video. As of now, this is good. Let's go to the next one. I'll see you there. Hello guys, in this video I want to show you probably the last unique effect I want to make in this section about items, and I'm talking about the armor. First of all, I want to make enemies frozen when they get in you below 10% of HP. It's kind of your exit out of very dangerous situation. I think you've seen this on my Figma board before. This item, give me a sec. Yeah, here it is. When below 10% of HP, freeze nearby enemies. Cooldown 60 seconds. And also I want to show you how to improve your stats when enemy hitting you. Let's say you would have an armor that gives you 5 armor with each time you get in hit. And in this way, if you're fighting lots of enemies in a short period of time, you'll be pretty durable, I would say. So let's go and create a C# script, items, effect, and we're gonna make a new C# script, freeze enemies effect. I want to inherit from item effect, and also I need the asset menu line because I don't want to type it again.
So I'm gonna copy it from here, paste this in here, and this is gonna be freeze enemies effect, and maybe we should just type freeze enemies because we have like item effect, freeze enemies. And here we can choose freeze enemies effect. Okay. We need to inherit from item effect. And now we need serialized field, private float duration, for how long. So duration, and I guess pretty much that's it. Well, we'll see if we need to add something. So I'm gonna do override, execute effect, and this is gonna be just transform, because we will spawn this from the position where player is. So we're gonna pass player's transform, I believe. Now I need to freeze enemies in the circle, and for that we need colliders. We need to catch colliders in the circle, and I don't want to type it again, so I'm gonna find it somewhere in my code. I believe maybe in the crystal we have something like that. Yeah, this is the code we need, so I'm gonna just copy this code, go to freeze enemies effect, paste this in, and we're gonna change it slightly. So we're gonna pass transform. And as for radius, I think 2 of the radius will be enough. Now here, instead of all of these, we're gonna just check if there is component of the enemy, and if there is, we're gonna call freeze coroutine. It's gonna be freeze time, but not freeze time, freeze coroutine, because we wanna freeze for some amount of time. Let's go to definition and find the name of that function. Here it is, freeze time 4. And I think we could, you know what, let's make it easier for us so we don't have to type start coroutine there. Let's make public virtual void freeze time 4. Freeze time, same name, doesn't look good. Okay, we can change this name to freeze time coroutine. Freeze time coroutine. And if I'm not wrong, we had it somewhere in the function, so we need to find it and fix that. And public virtual void freeze time 4 gonna return start coroutine of freeze time coroutine with a float duration. We're gonna take it here, float duration, and here we're gonna pass it duration. Just like so. Oh, we can pass it here, sorry, duration. All right, this I think will allow us to use it easier. Let's find the one we changed. So it is fine, freeze time. I'm gonna search through entire solution. It is somewhere in the state, I believe, not here. Black hole skill controller, not here. It was somewhere in some state. We can search here. Freeze time 4, that's what we do in here. So instead, we can type enemy, freeze time 4. I should do this in the beginning. And we just pass freeze time duration. It's gonna do the same thing. Let's search more. Is there any other places? I think no. Well, if it will come up, you can just fix it. When you see error in the console, you'll fix it. All right, but I guess that's pretty much it. Now let's go back to enemy and check this. This looks good. We can close this and go back to freeze enemies effect. Close all but this, and yeah, we're gonna save it. And we're gonna do here freeze time 4, and we pass duration. Good. Now what is it here? Unity engine rule tile. This is something we don't need here. I don't know what is it. Never seen it before. Okay, here we need to make sure there is such component, so we can put question mark, and this will do. Yeah, this will pretty much do everything we need here. Okay, now we can put this effect on the armor, but first we need to activate this effect on the armor. So we can go to player stats, not state, player stats. Where is it? Oh my god. Here, stats. We need character stats. We need to make sure that decrease health is virtual so we can override it, and it is. And now we can go to player stats and override here, override player, override decrease health by. And when we decrease health, we want to check if there is any armor equipped. And if there is, we're going to apply effect of the armor. So every time we get hit, we apply effects from the armor. Yeah, that's simple. So item data equipment, current armor equals to inventory dot instance get equipment of the armor. All right, now if current armor not equals to null, then we can take current armor and call for effect. That's it. Oh, we need to pass transform here, and for this one I'm going to pass player transform, so it's going to be player transform. Now that's it. Now let's go and make the item data for armor. Assets, data, equipment, armor. I'm going to make a new one. Let's say it's going to be a thorn mail. Thorn mail. Equipment. Oh, not thorn mail. I want some better name. But let's see what is the icon there. Maybe icon will give me a better name. This one will be Blue Wolf. Blue Wolf armor. And let's rename this one as well. Now we need equipment type armor, equipment, item cooldown. We don't need it for now. Item effect, however, we need to make it. All right, let's go to equipment, not data, item effect, make, create data, item effect, freeze enemies. Duration, let's say 2 seconds. Now I can go back to equipment of the armor, Blue Wolf, and add this effect. Freeze enemies. Item cooldown, we don't have it yet. The health would be, let's say, 50, armor 15, magic resistance 15, and let's say it gives us a bit of a strength. Okay. Now, when enemy hit me, they're supposed to freeze all the time. Oh, I need to add this to inventory. Keep forgetting. Blue Wolf. Gonna equip this, and if he hits me, boom, he has time stopped. Now we need to make it active only when player is below 10% of HP. And also we want to have cooldown for this. All right, let's go and try this. Let's go to the inventory and make a function that will say you can use it again. So it's going to be here, private float last time used armor. Then let's go all the way below, make a boolean, public bool, can use armor, in which we're going to do if time.time is bigger than last time used armor plus current armor cooldown. So we need access to that item. Item data equipment, current armor equals to get equipment of the armor. So current armor item cooldown. So if it is, then we can return true, and we can set last time used armor to time.time. And here we can pass return false and pass debug log armor on cooldown. Good job. Now let's go to freeze enemies effect and make sure we can do this only if we can use armor. So we're gonna do if inventory.instance.can use armor. Then we can do all of this, or we can do if no, then return. So if no cannot use armor, then return. Very simple. And let's go try again. I'm gonna take this armor, set cooldown to 5 seconds, and fix the name because there is extra letter. Better. Now let's go to play mode, equip, gonna go, and we can see armor is on cooldown. Okay, so cooldown works, very good. Now let's make it work only when below 10% of HP, which is not difficult to do. We need reference to character stats, so player stats equals to player manager.instance.player.get component of player stats, and then we can check either if it is above 10% of HP or if it is below 10% of HP. We have two options. So let's do if player stats current health is bigger than max health multiplied by 0.1, so bigger than 10% of the maximum health. And for that we can do player stats get max health value multiplied by 0.1f. Then return. So again, it's not going to work if we have more than 10% of HP. And let's try again. Gonna put it on. Let them damage me. Come on, boys. And I'm getting below 10%, and boom, they're frozen. Cool, I'm saved. I love it. Very good. Basically, it's done. I think I could show you one more tip, how you could apply buffs when enemy hits you, which is also very cool. Let's say you have some armor that makes you stronger, your damage stronger when you get hit, or with each hit you get more evasion, so next attack likely to miss, right? We're gonna just make a new armor data equipment, and let's name it as Rogue's jacket. I don't know, Rogue's jacket, PG6. Does this one looks like Rogue? And it's a it's a shorts of some kind. I'll let it be this one. Okay. Now equipment armor and item effect. We need to make a new one. We need to make a buff. All right. Let's go to data, item effect, create new buff, item effect, buff effect, evasion on taking hit. It's going to give you evasion. Let's say it gives you 15 of the evasion, and buff duration is 0.1, right? Let's go to back to armor, apply this on this Rogue's jacket. Rogue's jacket. Apply evasion. Let's give it a bit of agility, like 5. Health 50, evasion 5, and I don't know. Well, that's it. That's enough. Okay, now we go. I'm gonna open character stats so we can see evasion. Oh, I need to add this item, of course. Let's add Rogue's jacket. Okay, I'm gonna take character stats so I can see them. Player stats, let's find evasion. We have at the moment 0 modifiers, base value. I'm gonna equip this one. I have 5 evasion now, and I'm gonna let them hit me. Let's look the evasion here. 15, 15, 15. All right, so it gave me evasion, but it didn't help me, did not save me from dying. Anyway, worked good. I love it. Cool, right? Well, that's it. There is only one issue I want to address, but it's going to be short video, the next video that I want to talk about. I want to fix cooldown system of the item just by a bit, because it may bring some confusion now. And I'll see you in the next section. No, I'll see you in the next video, and after that in the next section. Bye. Hello guys, there is one issue I want to address before we jump to the next section, and it is a cooldown of the items. At the moment, when we have cooldown of any equipment or flasks, we cannot use them at the moment we begin the game, because we comparing cooldown to the time.time. Let's say I'll take this healing flask and give it cooldown over 15 seconds. Alright, now I'm gonna play my game, I'm gonna equip it, and we know we didn't use it before, but if I click it, I can see flask on cooldown. Why this is happening? This is happening because when we're doing cooldown, we compare in time.time to the last time used flask plus current flask item cooldown. And at the moment we start the game, time.time is something like 1, 2, 3, 4, because this time counts from the moment we began to play the game. But item cooldown value is 15 from the start, so it won't be available at least for 15 seconds. This is what is happening here. Let me just make an update and show you debug log time.time. I think I showed you before, but let's just check it again. Let it assemble. Meanwhile, I'm gonna just repeat again. We compare in time.time to last time used flask, which is from the start is 0, but current flask cooldown we set from the start, which is 15. And you can see time.time in my debug line is 9, so on and so on. 14, 15, and now I can use it. Now it will be available to me because we passed mark of the 15, passed mark of our cooldown. To fix it, we can do something simple. We can create a couple of variables, and this is what I wanted to do it first, but then I changed my mind for some reason. Private float, flask cooldown, and private float armor cooldown. And here we're gonna compare it not to the current flask item cooldown, we're gonna compare it to flask cooldown, and then when we use the flask, we're gonna set flask cooldown to current flask item cooldown. Same goes for armor. We're gonna do armor cooldown, and same if you want to make cooldown for weapon, you can do that just the same way. Armor cooldown equals to current armor item cooldown, and here we're gonna compare it to armor cooldown. So at the beginning this value will be 0, and at the moment we use it first time, we're gonna assign it to the cooldown of the item, which will allow us to use it from the beginning of the game or from the start when player just load up checkpoint or something. Let's go back. Gonna put it on, and you can see I can use it, and now it is on cooldown. Well, that's all what I wanted to show, and thank you so much for paying attention to this section. It was a lot of videos, I know, I kinda overdid it, but I wanted to show you so many cool stuff, and I hope you succeeded, I hope you did like it. Now I'm gonna wrap this project and attach it to this video, so you can use it at the current state. Yeah, so if you want, if you need it, download it, check some mistakes maybe or anything, compare it to yours if you need it, and I'll see you later. Hello guys, in this section we're gonna work on UI, so we're gonna try to make skill tree, character window, craft window somewhat pleasant to the eye. So I want to make it stylish, I want to make it minimalistic so it doesn't take much attention, but still it's pretty functional and useful. I have a prototype of how it's going to look. It is in my prototype project. So we're going to have something like this. You might seen this view in my YouTube videos when I talked about creating inventory and a skill tree. So this is how it's going to look approximately. I have some ideas how to make it better, but in general, we're going to have an object with 4 buttons at the top. And when you click each button, you can switch to another menu. And if you click, let's say, to the craft window, you can see this. Right, if you click, let's say, to character panel, it's gonna look something like this. My only idea is to make inventory smaller, so you have like maybe 8 to 6 slots, place it below over here, and I want to move equipment
to the right side above the inventory, and on the left side I want to have big panel with the stats, so we can list all the stats we have on the character. That's how I wanted to do. But in general, it's going to be very similar to this. And in this video, we're going to focus on creating buttons so we can switch between different menus. And later, in the later videos, we're going to work on each menu itself. All right, so let's go to the main project we have. And if you need, I've got an archive of this project attached to the last video. And also attached to this video, you'll find archive with the UI elements. They are basically the same elements you had in the original project, the very same. I just arranged them a bit, I changed the names, and UI that we're not going to use, I put it in extra folder here. We're not going to use them probably, but they're still there in case you want to use them. And the main files we're going to use, they're here, they're prepared. And the only thing I want to change, I guess, is to select them all, choose compression none, and filter mode no filter. Yeah, for those where it needed to be done. I guess these, yeah, skill tree is not ready, white, blue, so maybe none. I cannot apply, okay, I have to do one by one. Yeah, so all of them has point no filter, compression none, so it won't be blurry. Now let's take a canvas. We're gonna switch off these elements for now, we don't need them, and we're gonna switch off inventory, for now we don't need it as well. And we're going to take the canvas, create empty, and it's going to be, let's say, character. We're going to work on the character panel first, and we're going to use it as a template for others. So we need a background for this, and we're going to take add component, and we're going to add component of an image, and we can drag this UI background. Now we want to make it big, so let's just go here and type 920 by 1080. Maybe a bit smaller so we still have some space to see around the corners. Let's try a bit smaller. Give me a second. Yeah, I want to have a bit of a space around it. So 1800, and for this one 120. Yeah, looks better. Now let's click over here and choose position and pivot point at the center by holding Shift and Alt. This is better. Now I want to take this color and make it transparent. Maybe 150 will do. So this will give us a bit of a minimalistic style, which I really like. So now we have a background, and each menu gonna look like this. We only need to make a header that will allow us to switch between menus. So let's go ahead and create empty under the character panel. It's going to be header, and this header going to contain 4 buttons. Let's drag it to make it, full size of the menu we're currently in. Drag it above to place it somewhere here, like as a header should be. All right, now we need to make it visible, and I want to add component of the image. Go to this white transparent and take this one, put it here as a header image. Yeah, looks better. Let's see if it has compression none. Yes, it is. Okay, good. Now we need 4 buttons in this. What we can do is to put a grid layout on this element, the one we used before for the inventory, and then we're gonna make a button UI button text mesh pro, which will allow us to switch between menus. So it's gonna be just, let's say first panel is a character. All right, and now we need to take the header and place these buttons in the middle. I'm just going to duplicate a couple of buttons so it's easier to understand what we're trying to do. So we go into the header, grid layout, and choose child alignment, middle, center. And cell size can be maybe 300. Yeah, this is better. For the Y, we can make it a bit slimmer, so let's try 80. Good, I like how it looks. Now we're going to work on a button, and then we're going to just duplicate this button. So let's go to the font and change font to the one we like. I added 2 fonts that you can use, but if you want, you can get new font from the Google or something like that. I think this one is pretty RPG-ish, so we're going to use it. This one, Sign Mono Regular SDF. So I'm going to choose this one and name it as character. All right. Now let's take the button and change background so it looks better as well. For that, we can use, I would say, this picture. I already tested. we can use select character and drag this image over here. So it's gonna look like so. I'm gonna show you how to prepare sprites in a way that you can stretch them. Just give me a second. First, we're gonna set this up. All right, now we're gonna take text and make it white. This is better. And it might look some kind of wrong or blurry when you have a window size changed, but I assure you, when it is at the full screen, it's gonna look fine. As you can see now here, there is line above and below, and it looks pretty. But if I make window small, I cannot see those lines. It's just because of the resizing window, but in general, it's gonna look okay, so no worries about that. Now let's delete these 3 buttons and duplicate this button, which is ready. Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate it 1, 2, 3, 4. So first one is a character, second one can be a skill tree, and I'm gonna take the name of this and paste it in here in the text. Now another one would be, let's say, a craft. I'm gonna copy, paste this in here, and the last one, let's say it is options. If you want to make craft available only at some places, at some areas, you can do so. It is very easy to manage. I'm going to show you how to open functionality of the craft through this UI menu, but you can do it later when you're in a certain area with the on-trigger enter. But as of now, let's just do it in the menu. All right. So we have 4 buttons now that are supposed to work. What I want to do here is to make a script that will allow us to switch between these menus. So let's go to scripts folder, find UI, and make a script that is called UI. Very good. We're going to select canvas and put the script on the canvas. Now let's open this script, and inside we're going to make a simple function that will cycle through all of the children of the UI, find all of the elements, switch them off, and then switch on the one we need. So it's going to be a public void switch to game object menu. Inside we're going to make a for loop that will work as long as we have children on the canvas on this UI. So we're going to just take transform.childCount. Then we're going to take each element and switch it off, as I said. So it's going to be transform get child of the I game object set active false. And then after that, if menu is not equals to null, then we're going to take this menu and set active true. This is how it's going to work. Very good. Now let's save this and try it in action. We go into Unity back here. And of course, we would have to create 4 menus to assign them, because otherwise we cannot do it. So it will require a bit of work to do, but you know what to do. And let's actually rename this to menus header. Sounds better. Okay, so let's take the character panel, duplicate it, and name this as a skill tree. All right. Then we need another one. So I'm going to duplicate it. Yeah, it's a bit tedious to do, but you know, sometimes you have to do basically a handcraft setup. This one gonna be craft. And another one is options. Options. Now what we have to do here is something tedious, as I said. We need to select all of the buttons. We need to select all of them. Click this plus icon over here. Sorry, I had this from testing. So let's click this plus and then drag the canvas, unclick, find function, UI, switch to. Good, now all of them has this functionality and we only need to assign to which menu we're going to switch. So let's select character, 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 and drag the character. All right, now all of them have it. Very good. Now let's select skill tree and drag skill tree. Now let's select craft. By the way, I'm selecting objects like this by holding Ctrl and just clicking them with the mouse in case you need to know that. So craft, I missed. And options goes the same. Options. Perfect. Now we can switch off these elements and try this. It's supposed to work fine. And we cannot see any result yet because they are all very same. They're basically identical as of now, but we can see changes in the hierarchy over here. All right, so let's go to play mode. I'm gonna click skill tree. We can see skill tree is on over here. Now craft. Oh, something didn't work well. Gonna switch it on and check craft button. It's fine everywhere across all of the, let's try again. I'm just gonna assign it again. Craft, craft, craft. And I'm gonna drag it here. Craft. Okay. I'm gonna switch it off and try again. Options, craft. Okay, it works now. Now, the next goal we have is to set up all of the menus so they look pretty and they give information we want, and we're gonna do that in the next videos. So let's go, let's begin. Hello guys, in this video we're gonna set up character window so we can see all of the information we need, like stats, equipment, and inventory. Gonna be pretty easy to do, but might take long because, you know, it takes time. These things are not difficult, they just take time. All right, so first of all, I wanna show you how to make a header that you can stretch. Let's go to the character panel over here, make a UI image. I'm gonna name it as a header. We're gonna use it to, you know, say that this is inventory, this is the equipment, this is the stats. That's how we're going to do it. And we need a text for this, UI text. All right, let's name it as, let's say, I don't know, inventory. All right, so this header for the inventory, and let's select font. Now let's go to graphics, and for this one I want to use borders of the white color, this, and at the moment it is already set in the right way, so we can drag it and we can stretch the image and it's gonna look fine. But it's working like that because I did prepare the sprite to make it work so. And now I want to show you how to do it so you can stretch image without changing borders. If we go to sprite editor, find this picture, I'm gonna delete what I had here and just choose it like so with a blue line. I'm gonna hit apply. You can see when I stretch this image, it always changes the size of the borders, which looks weird and kind of incorrect. So to make it work like it was before, we need to go to sprite editor. There are green dots when you select in the sprite, and you can drag them to something like this. And this will mean that we can stretch, oh, sorry, we need to take the green one. Yeah, so this will mean we can stretch image only inside of the green borders. And what is outside of these green borders won't be touched and won't be changed again. And this will allow us to use this as a border that won't be changed, and only inside thing will be changed, as I said. Now let's hit apply, all right? And now you can see that my header can be stretched as I want, but borders looks fine, mostly. So that's what we're going to do to make a header. All right, perfect. So now let's say we have a header of a length 380 by 80. Now let's use it for the inventory. I'm gonna take my inventory and drag it to the characters panel here, and it is not visible. We need a picture for that. So let's go and add component of the image. And I wanna show you what image I want to use for this. So let's go to this green sprite sheet, to the sprite editor. And I wanna use this one. And exactly at this picture, I want to exclude this line, this border of 1 pixel. And to do that, I'm going to take my blue line of this and just put it above. Here, same on the right side, it's going to be not here, but here. So we can exclude the borders, put them outside of the sprite we've taken, all right, when we cut in the sprite, because this kind of says what we're going to take. And we're going to take only what is inside of blue line. And also these green lines, we need to somehow arrange it to, you know, let it stretch, just like we saw in the previous example. And the problem is that this sprite is not exactly even, because you can see it is right on the edge, but here it is not. But it doesn't matter really, we can just leave it like so. Just arrange it somehow. It can be at the edge here, at the edge here, at the edge here, and at the edge here. Doesn't really matter. All right, now I'm going to hit apply.
and use it. And I'm going to take this 0 sprite and drag it on the inventory, like so. Now this looks better, and I can take this header and place it above the inventory. And as I said before, if you remember, this kind of looks wrong, but it's only because we have window small and stretched. If you increase window size to a full size, still not okay, huh? Well, it will be okay in the game. We can see it is fine here when we using the canvas. It's just because of the Unity resizing things, so it's easier to work with them. But no worries, it's going to be fine when we build the game. It's going to look just like we see it in the canvas over here. All right, so let me resize it back. Something like that. And as I said before, I don't want to have lots of slots in the inventory. So let's decrease the amount to maybe, I don't know, 10 slots. Why not? And to make it 10, we just need to leave the one from 0 to 9, and this can be deleted. I think I want to make them a bit bigger, so we can change cell size to 150 by 150, and we cannot really see them, so let's select them and make them a bit visible while we're setting up the things. All right, so this looks okay. What we can do here is to find child alignment and choose middle center. So it's going to look like this. And now we can resize the inventory to fit our need. Yeah, this looks good, I guess. Now let's take the header and place it above. Now we have our inventory here, and we can make equipment in the same way. I'm going to take equipment panel, switch it on, drag it to the character, place it above, and I think we can find some other picture for it. Let me see. I like this one. And I like this one. Yeah, let's take this one. So what we need to do here is to make sure we include the arrows, right? So it is right on the edge of all of them, but green lines here. So these arrows won't be stretched. These won't be stretched. These won't be stretched. Okay, good. Now let's hit apply. Take our equipment, add image, and drag that sprite with the arrows pointing out. I believe it's this one. Right or wrong? Let me double check, I'm not sure. These arrows pointing in, my bad. Let me see. This. Okay, so equipment, we drag it on here. It was correct one, good. Now let's resize it a bit because it's kind of too big. We can resize it to something like so, I guess. And let's make sure it is at the same X as the inventory. So we're going to take inventory, see position is 140. Let's make it 160, and let's take equipment and make it 160 as well. Sorry, 460. Yeah, this is better. Now we need a header for this as well, and I'm going to name this as header inventory. Then I'm going to duplicate it, place it above here, and name it as header equipment. Let's take this here, copy, go to text and paste this in. All right, this looks good to me. I think it's okay. If not, we can always fix it when we see the final result. We can just, do a bit of a polish. Also, I feel like the text is kind of not in the center. So let's select this both text and click alignment center. A bit better, I think. Yeah, good. Now the equipment. We have 4 slots which are not visible at the moment. So we don't know where are they placed and how to place them. What I want to do here is to give each of them a background. For that, we can go here, make UI image, type just background, and choose some picture that will fit. Maybe this one is okay. Now let's copy this and paste this into armor. Paste this also into amulet, and paste this into flask. Good. Now I don't like that my equipment slots are aligned in the grid. So what I want to do is to select equipment and delete this grid layout group. All right. Now I can take my slots and place them as I want. And I think I want to place them maybe weapon here, armor here, amulet here, and Flask here. Now I can see a background image doing kind of wrong behavior at the wrong place. So what if we select them all and choose pivot point at the center? Yeah, better. Now we can see equipment slot here, armor here, and if we want, we can check position. So weapon, let's say position on the Y -100, and armor -100 as well. For the amulet, let's place it here, and position on the Y going to be -260. Same goes for the flask, -260. And actually, I want to switch flask and amulet. I don't know why, I have a feeling for that. So I'm going to place flask here, and amulet, I'm going to move to the left. Something like that. This is just approximate. You don't have to follow my option. You can do yours if you want. I'm just showing you how to do it. I'm just showing you a quickest example, how you could do it, and then it's up to you if you want to change it. Good. Now I want to place character in the middle, so we kind of know what is it about. And for that, I'm going to make a UI image, character image, and let's just go to graphics of the main character, drag the warrior sprite sheet, and click set native size. We only need to place it in the middle, and actually we could make it a bit smaller. So I'm gonna press T and resize it by holding Shift so it won't be stretched. Something like so. All right, this is good. Now let's close this and let's select inventory and make slots transparent again. Also, I want to make sure we cannot add items to the inventory if we don't have enough slots, like empty slots. And like if we have already 10 items and there is a new one, it means we don't have a slot. We cannot add that, but I'm going to do that later. As of now, let's just focus on the UI of the character. And the last thing to do here is the stat panel, which is going to be somewhere here, holding the entire left side. Let's see, what stats do we have? We can go to player, open stat component, and see that we have magic stats, defensive stats, offensive stats, and major stats. My idea is to place 4 major stats like so, 1, 2, 3, 4, then take one big box for offensive stats. It's going to be damage, crit chance, crit power, ice, fire, lightning damage, and then another one over here with the 4 defensive stats, which are health, armor, evasion, magic resistance. That's how it's going to work. So let's go and make a header. I'm going to duplicate this, place it here, and I can write something like, well, let's just type major stats. I'm going to copy the name, paste this in here, and I can see it's kind of stretched out. It is because the box of the text is slim. To fix that, we can just select the text box and maybe click here, stretch. Now it's going to be fine. I like it very much. And we need a kind of a holder for those 4 stats. But I don't want to have 3 different game objects for 3 different type of stats. So I will make one object that will have 3 headers and 3 boxes for stats. And for that, I'm going to make a create empty parent, stats. All right, very good. Now inside, let's make an image, UI image. We're going to make it something like so. I guess this will do, right? Looks okay. Let's select the background. And for that, we need to go to graphics, UI. Again, you can select whatever you want. We're just choosing things that are matching pretty well. And I'll try this one. This looks good. All right, I already did cutting for you. It's supposed to be same in your project. And we're going to take this image, drag this on, and name it as major stats. Now inside we're going to have stat slot, but we did not make it yet. So let's set up the headers, and then we're going to make stat slots. Going to place this kind of in the middle. Let's make a new box with a new header. I'm just going to duplicate it, move it below. This one going to be, what was that? Offensive stats, right? And I put it here as well. Offensive stats. And we need another one. And this one also, offensive stats. And we need another one. Oh, it's kind of no space already. Well, we're gonna see how it's gonna be later. As of now, let's just try to squeeze it in. Major stats, gonna move it above and make this box smaller, like so. Take offensive stats, move it above, and make the box smaller. Actually, we have a lot of offensive stats, so maybe, I don't know, height of 200. You know, we're gonna see together with the stat slot, because I made a prototype, it looked fine, but you know, every time you make something it looks different, and I don't want to make exact copy of that because we create in here. I like to be creative. So I'm gonna duplicate this and move it below, name it as defensive stats, and put the name here as well to the header, and name it this one as defensive stats as well. All right, this looks fine. Now we need a stat slot, and then we're gonna take text on the stat slot, pull the stat value, and pull the name of the stat and assign text of that slot. But for that, first we need to be able to pull the stats info. We already have similar functionality when we created buff item, but I want to improve it a bit. So what we're going to do is go to Visual Studio. We need scripts of the item effect, buff effect. And now, because we need this code more than once, I'm gonna just move this code to the character stats script, and then we're gonna use it here. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is press Ctrl X to cut it out, go to character stats, go all the way below, paste this in. We're gonna make this function public so we can use it. And as you can see, we need a stat type, so we can pass it here, stat type, buff type. And now that I have this name without an error, I'm gonna rename this to, with a Ctrl R, stat type. All right, now we can see an error here because before we requested it from the stat script, but now we are in the stat script, so we don't need it. So I'm just gonna delete stats here, and here, and here, delete, 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 delete. This one is, yeah. Okay. Good, this is better. Now we can use it to pull a stat. Let's go to buff effect and fix this one before we change anything else. In the buff effect, instead of stat to modify, we're going to have stats, stat to modify, and give it a stat type, which in our case is a buff type. Good. I also don't like the name now, so we're gonna press Ctrl RR and rename it maybe to stat of type. Good, this is good. Now, since we're already on this, let's go and take this enum and move it to the character stats, so it is at the right place. I'm gonna do Ctrl X here, go to character stats, paste this in here. Now we're gonna save it and save this. And now we can go and set up slots for character stats and then make a script for that. Let's go back to Unity. Here in Unity, we need to create a stat slot so we can arrange and assign those values. Let's go and find major stats here. And actually we can name it as major stats holder. Okay, better. Now let's add a UI text as a child here, UI text mesh pro. This is going to be a stat, which is going to have a value and the name. So let's say the main component, this one will have a value of something like 54 damage or something like that. And we're going to make a child for that as well that will have a name of the stat. It's going to be stat name. All right. And here we're going to have something like agility, let's say. Now this looks wrong and we need to arrange it. It's going to be a very wide. And actually, let's take a child and make a stretch so it will change size together with the parent. I'm going to take this stat name and click here and choose stretch with the Alt and Shift being held, like so. Very good. And we can take the stat name and make sure alignment is to the left and at the center. Now let's take the stat value and make alignment to the right and at the center. Yeah. So we want to have something like this, I guess. All right, and we want to change font as well. So we want to select both of them, go to font asset and find sign font. Okay, this is much better. Now let's take a look. The width of this is 300. What if we make it 350? Looks good as well. So what we can do now is go to major stats holder over here and add component of the grid layout. Now we know that size of the cell can be 350 by 50. We just checked that over here. So let's go to major stats holder and choose cell size of the X 350 by 50. Cool. Now we can make 4 of them because this one have 4 major stats. So I'm gonna make 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need to align them to make it look better, cooler and proper, right? So we can take major stats holder, find child alignment and try to choose middle center. This is better. Now we need to play a bit with these values so it looks a bit more appropriate, and maybe we can add spacing on the X. Yeah, and maybe a bit of the spacing on the Y. I guess this looks like what we need. If you want to play with it a bit more, you can, why not? It's totally up to you. I'm gonna continue, however. Now we want to have stats for offensive stats and defensive stat as well. But before we do that, let's set up the stat slot on these 4 examples, all right? And then we're gonna fill up rest. How are we gonna do this? We're going to add component to this as a UI stat slot or something like that. So let's go to scripts, UI, and make C# UI stat slot. And because we modified script before, now we can pull the stat from the character stats by its type. And that will allow us to choose stat and assign value to the value we want. That's how it's going to do. So first of all, let's make serialized field, private string, stat name. Then I want to have a couple of text mesh pro components. One gonna be serialized field, private text mesh pro GUI stat value text, and another one stat name text, stat name text. Good. Now on validate function over here, we're gonna do something simple but useful. We're gonna take GameObject.name and assign it equals to stat plus stat name, which will allow us to arrange project in hierarchy more easily. Now after that, we want to type if stat name text not equals to null, then we assign stat name text dot text equals to stat name. Very good. And then we need a function that will allow us to update stat value. We can do that by creating a public void, and I'm making it public because I'm gonna use it later. So it's gonna be public void update stat value UI. Now here, to make it work, we need a stat type. So I'm gonna go over here and type serialized field, private stat type, very nice, because we made enum before, if you remember. Now in update stat value, we're gonna take player stats component, so we know what the stat value is, so we can get it. And I'm gonna do player stats equals to player manager instance.player.get component of player stats. And then we're gonna do if player stats not equals to null, then we take stat value text dot text equals to player stats get stat type player stats stat of type, and here we're gonna pass stat type that we have, and then dot value get value, and we're gonna do to string, so it is passed as a string. And also I don't like the name now, let's rename it to get stat. Yeah, much better. All right, so we can pull the stat from player stats, get the value, and turn it into a string, and assign stat value text to this value. And this is pretty much it. Let's go to start here and type update stat value. Very good. Now what we need to do is to set up slots and drag script on it. Let's go back to Unity. I'm going to delete these 3 for now because it's easier to set up one and then duplicate all of them. All right. Going to have this one, drag the script on. Now we can see we have stat name, stat type, stat value text, and stat name text. Let's drag stat name to the stat name text, stat value text to the stat value text, stat type strengths, and we can type strengths here. Very good. Now we can make more of them. Now this one is agility, and let's change it to agility. This one is intelligence. It's going to be intelligence. This one is vitality, and it's going to be vitality. And see, it's all pretty nice now in the game window and in the hierarchy as well. Now we need to make same thing for the offensive stats and defensive stats. Let's do offensive stats first. And offensive stats going to have 6 slots in it. So we're going to increase size by just a bit to something like so. All right, now let's take the stat, press Ctrl C, then press Ctrl V to paste this in and move it to the offensive stat here. And better rename this to a holder. All right, now we need to add a grid layout component so it is arranged as well. And we can do that by just copying component from major stats holder here. Copy component, go to offensive stats holder, paste component as new. Now this is better, and we can take this stat and duplicate it till we have 6 of them. Nice, I love it. Now we need to change name for this. And it's a bit tedious, so I'm gonna do it quickly with a time lapse. Good, now we need to do the same for defensive stats. Pretty easy to do. Let's take offensive stats, grid layout component, we're gonna copy it. Go to defensive stats, paste component as new. Change name to defensive stats holder. Very good. And let's take one of these, duplicate and move it to defensive stats holder here. Now we can take it here and duplicate it a couple of more times. So we have 4 defensive stats. And the last one is magic resistance. I'm not sure it can fit. I'll try magic resistance. Kind of long. So I'm gonna type magic resist. Good, we have stats now. Now we need to update this value whenever we equip the item or open UI or anything like that. And I prefer to do that whenever we equip the item. So what I'm gonna do is go to inventory script. Let's go to inventory script. We're gonna make stat slot parent, serialize field, private transform stat slot parent. And we need the array of the script stat slot. So I'm gonna do private UI stat slot array stat slot. In the start, we're gonna get component of those with the help of get components in children. We're gonna take stat slot equals to stat slot parent, get components in children, should be plural, UI stat slot. Very nice. And then we're gonna go to update UI, update slot UI, and here we're gonna make another for loop. Stat slot dot length. It's gonna just do update info of stats in character UI. And here we're gonna just take each element and call that function update slot UI. All right, so it's gonna be stat slot with the I update stat value UI. Pretty simple to do. We don't need to add it anywhere else. This is just it. Now back in Unity, we can try this. Let me see. In the inventory, we have only 8 items, so it's fine. And we need to assign stat slot parent. And it's not necessary to choose exactly this object. We can just assign even a canvas because it's anyway gonna cycle through all of the children. Let's go here and choose. Well, we can choose just character. Or to avoid confusion, let's assign stat on its own. Good. I'm gonna go to play mode. We can see I have some items and some stats, and if I try to equip it, stats going to be changed. Check the damage and the crit chance. You can see it is changing. Perfect. Now we have one small issue though. We can unequip the armor, but we cannot unequip the sword. Doesn't work. It is happening for one simple reason. The image in the equipment is overlaying the weapon over here, as you can see. So we need to go to equipment, find this image of the character, find raycast target and uncheck this. So this won't be clickable. And now I can unequip everything I want and stats are changing. Now we have a small bug in the UI that I was ignoring for quite a long time. I can click on the empty slot and it's going to give me error in the console, which won't bother player because it's not breaking the game, but it bothers me, it is there. So we're going to do an easy fix to avoid that. We're going to go to this error. This is the item slot. And we're just going to type here, if item equals to null, then we're going to return. And for the equipment slot, we have to do a bit more. We need to type if item equals to null or item data equals to null. Just because of the way how it works, we're going to do return. And then it won't give us any error. All right. I can unequip, click empty slots. Nothing is happening. Although, did I not save the changes? Character image, raycast target, uncheck. Okay, let's try again. So now I click on empty slots, no error, nothing. I can equip, unequip the item. All works good. I love it. Now we have one issue that I did not pay attention to as well, because didn't really need to, but now we have only 10 slots in the inventory and we want to block item if there is not enough space. That's what we want to do. Well, let me show you the issue first. We're gonna have a bunch of items in the inventory here. Let's add, but we need different items. So this is gonna be Blue Wolf, Ice and Fire, Plate Armor, we already have it, so maybe Rogue's Jacket. We need a couple of more items, I guess. Let's go to Data, Equipment, Amulet. I'm gonna duplicate this a bunch of times. So we have 5 different amulets which are basically the same. I'm gonna choose them. Amulet, 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 and one more. I need so many items so I can show you how it behaves when we don't have slots anymore. Let's go. So when we're trying to add the item, we can see it says index was outside the bounds of the array. That's how it behaves. So what we need to do here is to make a function in the inventory that will limit this function if we don't have any more slots. We can do that very easily by just making a Boolean function somewhere here, public void, can add item, in which we're going to check if inventory.count is bigger or equals to amount of slots, and we can check amount of slots by just checking this inventory item slot, right? We have information about that in the array we created before. So inventory item slot length. Let's go back. Bigger or equals to inventory item slot length. Then we're gonna return false and debug line, no more space. And if no, then we just return true. Very simple. This should be public boolean. I'm sorry. Public bool. Okay, now when we add item to the, we're gonna check and can add item. Very good. Let's save this. That's just a quick fix. And now we can just see the message, no more space. However, this will do nothing if we pick up item on the floor. It won't pick up the item, it will just destroy it. So let's fix that quickly as well. We're just gonna make a bunch of items that we can pick up on the ground. I'm gonna, let me see, I'm gonna switch off the character here, go to project, make another amulet, for example, the amulet 5, then go to prefab, find item object. Where's my player? Let me take item object and give it data of amulet 5. All right. So what I was talking about is that if I'll try to pick up this item now, it will show me just no more space, but it will destroy the item as well. Check. So where is my item? I know I don't have space, but why did you destroy it? So we need to fix this as well. It's going to be just last step to do. Let's go to script. Yeah, item object here. And we need to do a bit of a change here. Very simple one. We're going to do if inventory instance can add item equals to false, or just type not can add item. And item data, item type is equipment. Then we're going to return. That's all what we need to do. So now if there is no space, we're just going to return, and item will be there. It won't be destroyed. It won't be picked up. Okay. Let's go now. Nothing is happening. I cannot pick it up. I have a message, no more space here. And if I delete some items from my inventory, where is it? I'm going to delete this. And I'll try to pick up. Boom, there it is. Very good, it works. Now let's give it a bit of a polish. At the moment we return, I just want to give a bit of velocity to the rigid body. So it shows kind of attempt to pick up the item. It's going to be rb.velocity equals to new vector 2, maybe 0 on the x, and just like 7 on the y. So it's going to pop in the air just a bit, but item won't be picked up. Let's go and try this again. I suppose it should look cool. All right, and boom. Very nice, right? Like you can feel you cannot pick up the item and it's hopping there like you're trying to pick up, just not successful. I love it. That's it for this video. Let's go to the next one. We have some more things to do. Hello guys, in this video we're going to do something cool and new. Our task is to make info of the item visible to the player so he can see what he's about to wear. At the moment, if I go to play mode and I have some items in my inventory, when I put my mouse over the item, nothing is happening. So I want to make a kind of small window that will pop up showing item name, item type, and item details. That's what we're going to do. Let me just go and delete this debug line for now. I don't want to see it. And also I want to delete these items from the inventory and extra data on duplicated amulets that I did in the last video. Equipment, amulet. So we're going to have only one. Good. Now, how it's going to work? You already know how to work with the interface on pointer down, and we're going to use similar functionality. We're going to use on pointer enter and on pointer exit. Let's just find item slot and do close all but this. And here at the top, I'll type I pointer enter and I pointer exit. We need to implement these two interfaces. So I'm going to do implement interface. Here as well, implement interface. All right, now we can do whatever we want with this. And as of now, let me just do debug line, debug log, show item info. And here I'm gonna do debug log, hide item info. Okay, and this is it for now. Let's go and see this. So if I put my mouse over the item, we can see in the console, show item info. Let me clear it up and try again. Show item info, hide item info. Show item info, hide item info. That's how it's going to work. We only need to make sure there is an item in the slot so we don't just call it for nothing. And then we're going to make a window that will pop up in there. So let's begin with creating simple window that we can call. And then after that, we're going to fill up this window with the information. Let's go to the character here and make, let's close equipment, inventory, all of this. And well, can we move header to the inventory like so? No, we cannot. It has a grid layout. Well, let it be just like that. Now let's make a UI image item tooltip. We're gonna find a sprite for it. Let's go to graphics, UI,
And I think one of these will do good. Let's try to increase the size. How about this one? Nah. This one looks okay, right? I think it does. Now let's make it a bit transparent. So let's try 180 here. Yeah, this is better. So we can see info behind in case we need it. And the size of this will be regulated by the item info, how big it is. But as of now, I'll just make some kind of size, so we have something to work with. Now let's go to the scripts of the UI and make C# script UI item tooltip. In the item tooltip, we need a couple of values. We need serialize field, private text mesh pro GUI, item name text. I also want to have item type, so text mesh pro GUI item type text. And I also want to have serialize field, private text mesh pro GUI item description, which we're not going to use for now. All right. And let's make a function. Gonna be public void show tooltip, and it will take information about the item. It's going to be item data, item, in which we're going to do, actually it should be item data equipment, I guess. In a sec, item data equipment. All right, so we're going to take item name text, dot text equals to item dot item name, and item type text, the text equals to item type, or better equipment type. Yeah, and then we're gonna set on, what is it? Oh, we need to do toString, of course. Sorry, toString. And then we need to switch on this game object, so it will be active. So we're gonna do game object, set active, true. Now we need another function that will switch off the object. So public void hide tooltip, which will just do return game object, set active, false. Very nice, I love it. Let's delete the start for now. And we need to go to UI so we can have access to this item. And because this game object item tooltip going to be child of the UI, going to be very easy to get access to that. Let's go to UI here, make a public item tooltip, like so. Then in the start, we can say item tooltip equals to get component in children of UI item tooltip. Going to get access to that for sure. Because again, it is child of the canvas in any case. And on the item slot, our task is to get component of the UI, then get access to the item tooltip and call function show UI item. So what we can do here is to get component in parent of the UI, or yeah, let's just do that. Get component in parent of the UI. I don't like the idea of getting component every time. So let's make a private UI here, and I'm going to make a start function, which will do UI equals to get component in parent of the UI. Yeah, this is better. So now on pointer enter, we can do UI tooltip, show tooltip, and here we need to pass item as a item data. So item data as item data equipment. And for the on pointer exit, gonna be UI item tooltip hide tooltip. Very nice. Now let's go and add text to the tooltip so we can use it actually. Item tooltip, we need to add a script and we need this text. So I'm gonna do UI text mesh pro item name duplicate, and it's gonna be item type and duplicate item description. Good. And let's place it just somehow here, here, and here. Okay, good. Now let's take this item tooltip and assign this text. So this is item name, item type, and item description. And we can switch it off, go to play mode. The canvas is supposed to find, switch it off. The canvas is supposed to find item tooltip on its own. Let's go and see if that works. Doesn't do that because I guess because item is disabled. Well, I don't want to worry about that too much, so I'm going to delete it from the start and I'm just going to assign it by hand. Like so.
Okay, and now let's go and try this. And we're gonna enter mouse. Boom, we have blue wolf, armor, new text. Very, very nice. We have information about the items. Now let's make sure it is not on if we put it over the empty slot, like now. So what we can do is go there and type if item equals to null, then return. And maybe same here. If item equals to null, then return. Very simple one. Very good. Love it. Now let's arrange that text just a bit so it looks better than now, because at the moment it's just a bunch of text. We're gonna add a vertical layout group, which will help us to arrange item tooltip. Let's switch it on. And in here, we're gonna just add component vertical layout group. And we want to add another component. Let me move it here. I'm gonna close the image. We wanna add another component, control size. Wait a second. Size, yeah, content size filter. Good. In the content size filter, we want to find vertical fit and choose preferred size. Nice. Now this size is controlled by the text and all of the items inside of this vertical layout group. If we add more info, it's going to be bigger. Now you might see that when I include items, it is growing from both sides, from the top and from the bottom. To avoid that, let's go over here, choose align to the top by holding Shift and Alt. Oh, sorry, not for the description, for the item tooltip. So item tooltip, align to the top. Very good. Now we can move it below. And at this moment, if we add more info, it's going to grow down only, which is much better and prettier. Very nice. Now it's growing in size if we add items, but I want it to grow if we add text to this. So item tooltip is changing the size according to the item description. For that, we're going to go to item tooltip, find control child size and choose width and height. And now if I add text, you can see it's growing and growing, which is much cooler, right? And we want to uncheck child force expand because at the moment we don't need it. Now the next step would be to arrange this text slightly. Let's find item name and increase text box over here. And I think we should change alignment of the objects as well, right? Let's take item tooltip, find child alignment, upper center. Good, this is much better. Let's take item name and increase the text box like so. And item name should be in the middle. Item type should be on the right. We also need to increase text size. We actually can do child expand on the horizontal, I guess. Let's do this. Yeah, so it is now automatically the biggest size it can be. And we don't have to worry about it. All right, now let's take item name, make it a bit bigger, maybe 40. We want to change font for all of these texts to the one we're using. And item name, we can make it bold, and maybe we can play with the text style just a bit to see what fits better as a item name, you know, like a title or something. I don't know, let's keep this one for now. Let's see how it looks later. At the moment, I think it's okay. The item type, we can make it a bit smaller, maybe 28. Yeah. Also can have a different color or different style. But let's just keep it normal and make it a bit of a different color. Yeah, it's all, you know, about preference. It's up to you how you want to make it. I mean, this part. Let's type here weapon, so just we know. And this can be shark blade. Oh, see, it's kind of long. It's okay. Let's do alignment in the center and decrease size of the font to 34. I think looks better. Good. Now the item description. We also need to do something with it. We're supposed to hold much more information than that. And it's going to be a bit tricky to do. We're going to work with a string builder. Don't know if you worked with that before, but basically it allows you to build up the string, the text, as much as you want according to the values you give it. So let's go and try. Let's go and do that. We need to go to the item data. Here we need a string builder I was talking about. Gonna be protected string builder. Gonna name it as b, and it's gonna be equals to a new string builder. And then we need a function that will return string. It's gonna be public virtual void. No, wait. Public virtual string get description, and it will do return and just empty text like that, just a space there. Now let's override this function on the item data equipment, and somewhere here we're gonna override get description, and it's gonna return sb.toString. Very nice. Now we need to use this sb and build information about the item. For that, we're gonna have a private function, private void add item description, which gonna take the value, the stat name, and basically that's it. So it's gonna be int value, then string name. Very nice. What we're going to do here is something simple. We're gonna add lines to the isB if value is not equals to 0. So let's just type if value not equals to 0, then we can proceed, and inside we're gonna check if sb dot length is bigger than 0, means we need to add a new line to the string builder, and we're gonna just do sb append line. This is how it works. And then we're gonna check if value is bigger than 0, then we're going to do sb append, and we can add the things we want here. So I want to add my name plus a colon and space, and then plus value. That's how it's going to work. And then we're going to go to the get description and write a bunch of code here. It's going to be same to what we did with the stats. We're going to type sb.length equals to 0, and then we're going to do add item description, and we're going to pass value of the stat and the name of the stat. So first one is, what is it? Strengths, and we pass strengths. All right, this is how it looks in my case, and we would have to modify it just by a bit when we have evasion and crit chance, because that is counted in %. But let's check this one first. How does it work? Let's go to the UI item tooltip, and now here at the item description, item description.text, we're gonna take item get description. That's how it's going to work. Now let's go and see this. We're gonna go back to Unity and try again. Now here in Unity, we want to do a couple of changes. First of all, I want to take item description, do alignment to the bottom, and I want to take this text description, drag it below with a green line. We just move it below like so, just maybe by one, let's say, unit. Then we take size, the scale of the game object itself, and drag it above like that. So now we have a bit of a space between item type and item description. Good, I like it. Now what we want to do next is just check it. Yeah, basically let's just make sure it's working, and then we're gonna do a couple of more changes that will make it only better. And actually I want to check it in a full screen mode, so I'm gonna go here and choose play maximized. Okay, so we have item information, which is really cool. Although we can see font is kind of big and we cannot see all of the information properly. Like here, lightning damage goes to the next line, which is not cool. So we're gonna decrease the size of the font. And also, I don't really like it goes from small window to big window all the time. Although it should be like that. For example, I Googled the items in Diablo. You can see that, where is it? Well, any example, please. Yeah, we can see that item with one line of description is short, And if there is item with more description, it is longer, like here. And basically much more screenshots can show that if you have more description, window just getting bigger. But in any case, I want to have at least some lengths to the window, so it is not so small at some point. So maybe minimum, like at least 5 lines, even though if they are empty, just the size of the window. So it won't change unless you have really big description of the item. And also the image, I don't like how it looks, so I will try to change the image as well. All right, let's go and do the image first. What is it? Doesn't matter. Let's go to graphics of the UI, find this white blue. I want to add another sprite. I think this one will do. So let's just select it like so, adjust the size. Okay. And here, and we need to take green lines and drag them here. So borders won't be stretched. Okay, gonna apply and drag the image to the item tooltip, to the image. Yes, and we can see now it is at the border, I mean the text. So what we can do is to add a bit of padding on the left and on the right. Let's try 5 pixels. Could be bigger. Let's try 15. Too much. 10. 10 is okay. On the right as well. And why not add a bit on the top? And maybe just a bit at the bottom. Okay, this is better. Let's take item description and decrease the font size to maybe 24. I believe this will do better. Now I'm gonna check this again in the max size. Yeah, love it more. Nice. Now let's go and fix the length of the box. And we're gonna do that with a code. Let's go back to the place we making the string in get description. I want to make a private integer, private int min description length, min description length. We're gonna go to get description, set min description length to 0. Then at the place we build in description, we're gonna do just min description length. Actually, just name it as description length. Description length. Okay, we're gonna do plus plus. So every time we add a line, we're gonna add one value to that. And then here, we're gonna check if description length is less than, I don't know, let's say 5. All right. Then we're gonna do a for loop, which will take the difference of description length and a 5. So 5 minus description length. And for this amount of steps, we're gonna do SB append line, and then SB append just a space there. So it will have empty spaces after stats. Okay, let's go and try this now. Yeah, this looks better, right? When it's not jumping here and there. Okay, now the name, I can see some of the names are really long and they cannot fit in the window. So let's try to decrease font and increase size of the item tooltip by just a bit. So I'm gonna make it wider, maybe 350. And font of the item name, gonna make it 32. Let me try again now. So Ice and Fire, all fitting, very good. Blue Wool Farmer, not fitting. We could write a code that will decrease size of the font if length of the name is bigger than it should be, if it's bigger than maximum value. But I don't really want to do that. Okay, let's do that. Let's go to the item tooltip. Here we're gonna do simple thing. If item name text length is bigger than certain amount of letters, and we need to go and see how big it should be, like the maximum name, I'm gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 7, 8, 9, no, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maximum of 14 numbers, right? Maximum 14 letters. And let's just be on the safe side. We'll set maximum size of 12. So bigger than 12. Then we're gonna take item name dot font size equals to item name font size multiplied by 0.7. So it's gonna be only 7% of the font size. Else, item name text font size gonna be equals to the value we have, 32. Okay, gonna go and try this again. Really flexible thing, I like it. Okay, you see Rogue's jacket is smaller, Amulet of God is smaller, and now it is fitting in there. Very good, love it. Anything else we need? As of now, maybe should not make it so transparent. Also, I can see it is not pretty here. We need to move it below, just like, you know, move it below a bit. And there is an error. I'm gonna check it and we're gonna jump to next video. So item tooltip, we need to type here if item equals to null, then return. That's what we need to do. Good. Let's move defensive stats below. Stats, defensive stats, and defensive stats holder. Just a bit below. And I want to try to make item tooltip not so transparent. Nice. Oh, what is it? It's becoming smaller and smaller every time. Check this out. Nice. I don't know why. Let's go and do a bit of more fixing. Better do it now. I'm gonna do serialize field, private int, default font size equals 32 by default. And when we exit the tooltip, take this line, put it inside, and here I'm gonna do item name, the text, font size equals to default font size. And we can set it here as well, default font size. All right, should be better now. Sorry for that. You know, sometimes bugs just appearing at the moment. I'm gonna switch off item tooltip, check it one last time. Okay, very good. Looks pretty. Love it. You know what, guys? I was just checking the screenshots of the Diablo, and I can see here we have the stat plus value and the name. So I thought, should we make it like that? Why don't we, right? I'm gonna show you how to do that just as one of the options, and then you decide which one to keep, the first option or the one I'm going to show you now. So back in the item data equipment, at the place we build in string here, we're gonna do a different line here. We're gonna do plus space, then value, then space, then plus name. Gonna look like that now. Now, this is nice. This looks much better, right? I love it more. We're gonna keep this one. Very cool. We did a lot in this video, a lot of useful, cool stuff, good stuff to learn. And let's go to the next video. We're gonna set up tooltip for the stat. And also we need to do a bit of a polish here. You'll see what I mean by that. Bye. Hello guys, in this video we're going to make a stat tooltip. So when you put your mouse over the stat, you can see what it actually does. And also we're going to do a bit of a change to the stat display, something I guess I forgot to do, because you know, vitality gives you health and health gives you health. So we need to modify value of the health, for example, to the max health value. Also same goes for crit chance, crit power, and evasion, and anything that is affected by the major stats we have. So that's what we need to do. Something I really forgot to do. Let's go and fix that first. And we're gonna do it in a very, I would say, interesting way. We're gonna go to UI stat slot. And when we update stat value, we need to do a couple of changes. We're gonna check if stat type is equals to, let's say, stat type health, then we're gonna take stat value text, the text, and assign it to player stats get max health value to string. All right, then we're gonna do if stat type equals to stat type, and we need to take all of the stats that are modified by major stats. All right, let me double check what are those. So strength is affecting damage and crit power. So we have to do this for damage, right? We have to do this for damage stat type, and it's going to be equals to stat value text, that text equals to player stats. This one is, let me double check if we calculate in damage anywhere so we can get the value, because I don't remember. No, we do not. We just calculate damage like that. So we have to do damage get value plus strength get value. It's going to be player stats damage get value plus player stats strength get value. And we have to wrap this up into parentheses and make it to string. Okay, now same goes for other stats. Stat type of the, let's see, crit power, evasion, crit chance, magic damage, and magic resistance. Let's do crit power. So crit power, and crit power is a stat value text. Text equals to player stats crit power get value plus player stats strengths get value. We're gonna wrap this up to string. So we need to wrap this up in the parentheses and do to string. Now same goes for crit chance. Stat type crit chance, and stat value text, the text equals to player stats crit chance get value plus player stats agility get value to string. Thank you. Now it goes for evasion. Stat type equals to evasion stat type, stat value text equals to player stats evasion get value plus player stats agility get value to string. Yeah, what is it? Sign equals sign here. Now let me see. We did damage, crit power, crit chance, evasion, and we need to do magic resistance. So it's going to be if stat type equals to stat type magic res, then stat value text, the text equals to player stats magic resistance plus player stats intelligence get value, and this should be multiplied by 3. And this one is also an error here, get value. And this one should be multiplied by 3, and then we wrap this up into parentheses. Wait a second. To string. Okay. So we take magic resistance plus intelligence multiplied by 3. This is our total magic resistance, and we give it to string. We could also have these calculations on the character stats, by the way, just as a separate functions. But since I did it this way, let's just continue. Oh, we did it, I guess. We did magic res and health. Health increased, by the way, 1 point increased health by 3 or 5. Let's see what we did in the end, 3 or 5. Because I honestly don't remember. 5. Okay, so it is 5. And here we're gonna do, we just haven't get max health value. Very good. So strength is affecting damage and crit power, agility is affecting crit chance and evasion, intelligence affecting magic resistance, and vitality affecting health. Also, there is such thing as intelligence affecting magic damage. But I have a problem with that, and it is one very simple problem. We arranged stats in such beautiful way here. I just don't want to add another stat of a magic damage and display it here and break this beautiful arrangement of even amount of stats here. If you want, you know how to add stat, you can do that. But in general, I'll just do description that says intelligence also adds some amount of damage to your total magical damage, something like that. So we don't have to display it here. Let's see, what is it? Okay, very good. Now let's go and try to test this, and then we're going to make a stat tooltip. I'm going to take my player, find character stats on it, and I'm gonna give him vitality over 5 and max health of 100. So we're supposed to see 150 here now. 125, yeah, correct. Okay, this is much better. I like how it works. Now all affected by everything. And it's time we make a stat tooltip. Gonna be even simpler than we did with the item tooltip. We're gonna go and just switch this on. Gonna switch this on, duplicate it. I'm gonna switch off the first one and rename this to a stat tooltip. And we actually don't need a vertical layout group. We don't need a script. We don't need content size filter. And we don't need these two, only one, and it's enough. I'm gonna just type it stat description. Gonna find it and fix it by a bit. Stat tooltip should have a bigger size. Maybe 400 by 150 or by 200. I don't know. We'll see. Let's try 160. Yeah. And stat description should be bigger as well. We should actually have it just the size of the box itself. And we can do a line in the middle so I can see it better, because I cannot understand why it is so slim. The height is so small. Yeah, here it is. Can't we just stretch it? Let's just stretch it. Yeah, better. And take the text box. Fix the size. Alignment can be, let's say, in the middle or top left. It's all up to you. Let's say it's going to be like, gives you, we're going to fix the font size as well. Gives you, increases damage and crit power. Something like that. Now let's make it look normal. Decrease the font to 22. I think this is good. Maybe 24. And yeah, that's all what we need here, actually. This is how it's going to look. Now let's make a script for this. I'm gonna go to UI scripts, make C# UI stat tooltip. It's gonna act very similar to the one we had before. This one going to have component of a text. Private text mesh pro GUI. Well, basically just description. Then we're gonna have a couple of functions. Public void show stat tooltip. It's gonna take a string text, and we're gonna take description, the text, and assign it to text. And we're gonna set it to active as well. Game object set active true, and then public void hide stat tooltip, which will do just game object set active false. And if we want, we can make text empty just in case. Good. Now we need to get access to this stat tooltip in the UI. So we go to UI and make here public UI stat tooltip. Now we need to access this component through the stat slot over here. And stat slot also going to have a description. So let's make a functionality and the variable. First variable. We're going to have serialized field, private string, stat description. And we want to have a box of a text, not just one line. So I'm going to type here text area. Yeah, this is better. Now let's make an event. I pointer enter and I pointer exit. I'm going to click Alt Enter to implement interface. Now when we enter interface, we're going to get component of the UI, right? And I think we can get component of that in the start. So I'm going to make here private UI equals to get component in parent of the UI. Very nice. And here we're gonna do UI start tooltip, show start tooltip, and we pass here description, the start description. And this one will do just UI start tooltip, hide start tooltip. Very nice. Now let's go and set this up. We're gonna go to canvas, assign this value of a start tooltip. Oh, we need to put script on, of course. Let's drag the script, drag the description, can switch it off, go to the canvas, drag the start tooltip, and we actually need some description on the stats. Let's try this on the strengths. We have a stat description area here, and I'm gonna just type increases damage and critical power. For the agility, increases evasion and critical chance. For the intelligence, increases magical damage and resistance. Vitality increases health. For damage, amount of physical damage you do. Fire damage, amount of fire damage you do. Crit chance to do critical damage. Ice damage, amount of ice damage you do. Crit power increases power of your critical attack. Critical attack. Lightning damage, amount of lightning damage you do. Health, amount of health you have. Amount of maximum health. Evasion increases your chance to avoid attack. Armor decreases physical damage you take. And magic resistance, I'm just gonna copy this, paste this in, and type magical damage you take. Magical damage you take. Okay. Let's go now. This is just so amazing. Gonna put it over the stat, and we can see increases evasion and critical chance. Increases damage. Very good. Love it. Let's try to, do alignment of the text. Maybe on the left. Nah. In the middle better. Very good. If you want, you can, fix it somehow in a different way. Let's try. I'm going to increase the size. And let's say we have a start tooltip placed somewhere, I don't know, here, and it is wider, like that. So when you put it, you can see, yeah, the wide tooltip much better. Nice. So we're going to keep it wide. Where is it? Start tooltip. Let's make it, sorry, I'm going to fix it now. Let's make it visible, place it here, and make it wide. So something like 600 or 700. Yeah. Big and visible. Maybe we can increase the font just by a bit to 26. All right, that's it for this video. I love it, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Hello guys, this one gonna be real quick. I just wanna make possible to switch between UI elements with the keyboard. Like, when you play Diablo or any kind of game, you click C, you open the character window, you click C again, you close the character window, something like that. And it's gonna be very easy to do. We're gonna go to Canvas, open UI here. We need reference to the UI we have, and I already created one, I guess, serialized field. We need another one for skill tree. So skill tree UI, another one for craft, game object craft UI. and another one for options, private game object, options UI. And then I want to make another function, public void switch with key to some menu. And in this function, first of all, we want to check if menu not equals to null and menu is active. We just type self, active self. And if it is, then we take menu, set active false, and we return from here. So it's going to be a curly brackets, like so. And then if this condition is not met, then we're just going to do switch to and pass the same menu. And also, I don't know what is it here. Looks ugly. I'm just going to do cleanup. It will fix it. Nice. And also, I don't want to see any menu when I start the game. What is it, man? Semicolon. Sorry, I don't know why it's happening. And also, as I was saying, I don't want to see any menu when I start the game. So I'm gonna do switch to null. So at the start, I'm just gonna switch to none of the UI. And later we're gonna have in-game UI, we're gonna switch to that. Now in the update, we want to do if input.getKey down key code C, then we switch to character panel. And I'm just gonna do here switch with key to character UI. Then for craft, let's use B letter, input get key down key code B, switch with key to craft UI. Let's do skill tree as well. And I remember from some game, to open the skill tree, you need to press letter K. I don't remember which game it is, but I have like a muscle memory for it. So I'm gonna choose letter K. Input, get key down key code K, switch with key to skill tree UI. And for the options, we're gonna do O, letter O. So input, get key down, key code O, switch with key to options UI. Good, very good. Believe me or not, that's all what we need to do. And I know I was typing quite fast, but it is very simple things, very simple functionality. Let's go now. Now we need to go to the canvas and assign these panels: character UI, skill tree UI, craft UI, and options UI. Nice. Also, I want to switch off this tooltip by default, and I didn't want to do it in Unity because I might forget at some point. So let's go to code back here and just type item tooltip set item tooltip game object set active false, and start tooltip game object set active false. So it will be always off no matter what we do in the inspector. Now we can test this. None of the menus is on, and I'm gonna click C, have character menu, which is working fine. Now I'm gonna click O, I have options open, we can see it here. And I'm gonna click O again, it's gonna be closed. I'm gonna click C, it's gonna be closed, open, close, open, close. So now it is working nicely. And same goes for buttons here, they're working as before. Very good, that's it for this video. Let's go to the next one. Hello guys, in this video we're gonna make a craft window, and here you can see a little sketch of what it's going to look like. So the idea is to have a menu with 4 buttons on the left, and each button gonna have type of the equipment. At the moment, as example, we have 4 type of the equipment. If you remember, it is weapon, armor, flask, and amulet. So it's gonna have 4 buttons. When you click one of these buttons, it's gonna take the list on the right side and fill it up with recipes that we have in the game, like the recipe you prepare. Let's say it can be, you know, for the weapon can be ice and fire, shark tooth, stolen sword, whatever weapon we created before. Now, when you click on one of these slots, one of these buttons, it's gonna take this window and fill it up with information. It's gonna show you maybe icon of the item, item name here, item description,
resources it requires to craft, all right? And then there is going to be a button which will allow you to craft the item if you click it. And here below we can see all of the materials we have on the character, basically our stash. That's the idea. I think this looks good. If you don't like it, it's okay. You can arrange it as you want. Just finish the course first, see how I do it, and then you can change it up to your, vision. Let's go back to Unity now. Now back in Unity, we're gonna take this character UI. First of all, I wanna change name to character UI, so it is more obvious. I'm gonna switch it off, switch on the craft, and name it as craft UI. Very good. Let me just move it above so it's easier to find. Now we have craft panel and a stash, which we both can move to craft UI and switch them on. Now we need to set up these two things. Craft panel gonna be above and stash gonna be below. As I showed you on my sketch, I wanna make it slim and long, so we have all of the materials below listed, like kind of in a long list, And as I remember, the cell size is 100, so we can make height of this item as 100 as well. So it will be like, real tight here. And let me see the slots. We can add one more, and we can take stash and do alignment middle center. So it will be arranged a bit better. Good. We also need an image for this stash, so I'm gonna add image here, go to UI, take one of the images and drag it there. I'm gonna see how it looks. All right, I'll choose the first one, number 0, and then we'll see how it looks later. If we want, we can change it always. That's not a big deal. Now, regarding the craft panel, on my sketch here, you can see I made kind of a list, and I honestly don't know which one to choose, which one will look better. We could make it as a list, or we could make it look as the inventory we have right now. Yes, so it can list items like that, and you just need to click them to see what it does. Pretty simple, pretty cool, I guess. But you already know how to do it this way, so I want to teach you another way. I want to teach you how to make a list that you can scroll. For that, let's select Craft UI, find UI, scroll view. We need to modify it by just a bit. So what I'm going to do here is first of all open and delete these scroll bars, horizontal and vertical. I don't want to see them. And this viewport gonna have, and if to be precise, content, gonna have all of the childs that we're going to use as a craft slots, all right? But the scroll view itself gonna be somewhere here, let's say of this size, all right? And let's not wait much, let's just put some slots in there and see how it behaves when we're trying to scroll. Then I'm gonna show you how to set up scrolling in a better way. So let's go to craft panel, find this item slot. This is a craft slot, and we actually can rename it to craft slot. Now I'm gonna duplicate this, move it to content. Very nice. I'm gonna give it an image so I can see it and it's easier to set up, and later we're gonna revert that. All right, and now I can just close this craft panel. I don't need it anymore. Now the scroll view. As you can see, content has a size, and we can change the size of this as we want. And if we add more items in there, at the moment it does nothing unless we add a layout group like we did before. So grid layout group. Boom, nice. Now we can add as many items as we want and it will be there. And the good part is we can actually scroll through these items like so. All right, we can scroll and find what we need. We only need to arrange the scrolling by a bit so it looks a more proper way, I would say, because now this is not really functional. To give you a better example of how the scrolling works, I just want to arrange slots by a bit so it is easier to see what we're trying to do. All right, let's go to content and increase cell size to maybe something like 250, and maybe Y should be, I don't know, 70. Let's take alignment set to middle center. Constraints, we're going to choose fixed column count, only 2, and we need to add a bit of a spacing so we can see the, which slot is which, because now they all look like one big slot. So I'm going to increase spacing on the X maybe 25, on the Y 25 as well. And I don't know, this looks good. This looks like okay. Now let's go and test the scrolling itself.
I'm gonna go to play mode and explain it in the play mode because it's kind of easier there. Yeah, so check this out now. If I'm trying to scroll things, it does not give me any scrolling actually, just returns back. It is happening because scroll is limited by the content over here. We have a viewport, which basically means what you can see, right? So this limits the view, and content limits the scroll. So this is how it works. And you can do it like that, or you can increase viewport back to the one we had and increase size of the content to a bigger value. So this now will allow me to scroll through more objects. But what if we have, uncertain amount of objects? What if we have sometimes 10, sometimes 200? What we can do? Well, then we can do something similar to what we did with the item description. We can just switch off the play mode, go to add component, find content, size filter, choose vertical fit, preferred size. Now, this content window will be changed according to amount of slots you have. If I delete these slots and choose content, you can see it's like that. If I add more slots, you can see it is increasing in the size. And now in the play mode, I can scroll as much as I want. Right up to entire bottom part of the list. Very good, love it. Now, what else we can do with the scrolling? First of all, I think we should switch off horizontal scroll. So I'm gonna do this, click, switch off. Now we can scroll only vertical. Also, I don't like it is scrolling like that. It gives me feeling of a mobile phone. So I wanna change that. We can decrease deceleration value to something smaller, like 0. And now when you scroll, it stops immediately. You can increase it if you want, of course. It's gonna scroll by itself automatically till the end. But I don't like it. You can actually even just remove inertia. So it's going to be like that. Also, if I try to scroll with my mouse, it feels kind of impossible to do. But we can change that by changing scroll sensitivity to up maybe 30. Yeah, now it is better. Also, there is a movement type, which, has some difference. Like if you choose clumped, and you go up to the list, it is stopped. You cannot scroll up anymore. Same goes for the bottom part. You cannot scroll anymore. If you change it to elastic, you can do like that. Keep it or not, it's totally up to you. I think I'll choose just clumped. And this is pretty much all of the settings I think you should know about with the scroll rect, the one you can use for scrolling. So what I want to do now is to click these 3 dots, copy component. Now I want to exit play mode and paste component values. Good. Now it's going to be the same way we did set up it in the play mode. Now regarding the craft slots, what we can do about them. First of all, we could add a bit of a padding at the top so there is some space. Yeah, like 20. And now we need to set up craft slot. So it's going to have image of the item and item name. Let's do a rough sketch so we can kind of see image and the name. Then we're going to fill it up with the functionality, and then we're going to arrange it to make it look proper and beautiful. All right, so we're going to take craft slot, add UI text mesh pro. This is going to be item name, and then we need another one, UI image item icon. I'll just place icon on the left and make it smaller, maybe 50 by 50. Something like that. And item name, we can just, arrange it here, do alignment to the right and center, and let it be there, like a sort. We're going to fill up this with information now. And for that, we need to modify craft slot. And then we need to make a functionality that will fill up this list with the items when you press in the button, actually. Gonna be not difficult to do, just, takes time. Yeah. Let's go to UI craft slot. Now here, we want to do close all but this, and we actually have already reference to an image and the text from the UI item slot, so we can inherit that. First of all, let me just do cleanup here, because it's kind of a lot of extra stuff over here. All right, so I'm going to do clean. Now I'm going to go to UI item slot, and here we can change these to protected, so we can use them. Protected.
protected. We might also need to have access to the UI, so let's make UI protected here, and let's make this protected virtual so we can override it. All right, I'm gonna save this and close. Now here on the UI craft slot, back again, I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do override start. So now we have access to the UI if we need, yeah, and we're gonna make a setup function. Let's do it. We don't need this on enable anymore, but we need a setup function. It's gonna be public void setup craft slot, which will take information about item data. So item data equipment data. Then inside we're gonna do item data equals to data. Again, this one was created on the UI item slot. If you forgot, we have it here, inventory item. We just assign in the data. Now, next step would be to assign image. So item image dot sprite equals to data dot icon, and then item text dot text equals to data item name. Very good. Also, I don't like I have to write icon. I keep forgetting what I'm trying to get there. So I'll rename these to item icon. All right, item icon. Better. Now we have this setup craft slot function. We can use it from a button that's gonna set up craft list, which we don't have yet. So I'm gonna just save this and go back to Unity. Now we're gonna delete all of the extra buttons here. We don't need them. Let's take the first one, remove number 1. All right, now we need to assign item name to the item text and item icon to the item image, and this item amount can be deleted now. Now on this craft slot, we're gonna make it as a prefab. Let's go to prefabs folder, UI, we're gonna drag it here. Now we have a craft slot prefab, and I don't think we need this craft panel anymore. This was just for testing if I remember it correctly, and now we don't really need it. So I'm gonna take this craft panel and delete it. Good. Now, regarding this, let's make a couple of more. Let's say we make 4 for now, and we wanna take first one and make it somehow pretty, as well as the entire window. I don't want to spend too much time on design now, because we have a lot of things to do in this video. So I'll just throw some images to see, like, if it's okay, then let's move on. Let's go to graphics, UI, find something with a background, because we want to see items that we might craft clearly. So I'm gonna take this scroll view and let's say drag this icon. Okay, and let's make it not transparent at all. If you don't have this icon for some reason, I don't know, I don't remember when I made it, we can go to sprite editor here, find this picture and just select it, you know, like so, and then move green lines below the borders like so. All right, so we did background, and then we need to set up craft slot on its own. I'm gonna make it white and not transparent, and I'm gonna change background for something like, you know, just something with borders. Think this one will do? No, I don't think so. Let's try another one. Let's try, let me see. This one we just tried. Maybe this. I think we could, or this. Let's try this one. We're just gonna fix it a bit. Let's take the green part and move it here. So we want to stretch the corners. This one, okay, craft slot, let's drag it. Looks okay, I guess we could accept it. Now let's arrange the item icon a bit, maybe a bit lower and to the left. I'm just gonna assign to the left center and move it to the right, like so. Yeah, and regarding the name, we need to make sure it is not exactly at the border. So I'm going to decrease size of the text box just by a bit, and I want to decrease font size to 24. Good. And we also need to change font type to this one. Now let's take this craft slot and hit apply all on the overrides. Good. Now all of them looks like that. And then we need a button that will actually create the list. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and make a button. We're gonna do it with the UI image, craft, setup, craft, list, weapon. Good. Let's give it some icon. G6. I'll just take icon of a sword and place it on the left here. Now we need a script for this one. I'm gonna add component, or better do it from the folder. So UI scripts, and I'm gonna make UI craft list. Let's go to the craft list. Here we need a parent to get access to the craft slot. So we need parent of the craft slot items. I'm gonna do serialize field, private transform, craft slot parent. We also need the prefab of a craft slot button. So serialize field, private game object, craft slot button, or craft slot prefab. Good. Now we need a list of the items we might craft. So serialize field, and I'm gonna make a list just in case later you want to unlock new items and add them to the craft list. It's gonna be very easy to do if we have a list already. So it's gonna be private list, private list of item data equipment, craft equipment. Okay, name's good. And we need a serialize field, private list of buttons that are currently in the list, currently there. So I'm gonna just use UI craft slot, and it's gonna be craft slots. Okay, good. Now, in the start, we want to get access to all of the craft slots, just so we have them. And for that, I'm gonna do check for all of the children under craft slot parent. So we're gonna do this for loop for craft slot parent dot child count, and then we're gonna do craft slots dot add, and we're gonna add each child from the parent. So craft slot parent get child of an I, then get component of craft slots. Yeah, good. Let's wrap this up in the method so it is clear what it does. I'm gonna click Alt Enter, extract method. It's gonna be assign craft slot. Assign craft slots. Very good. Now we need a function that will set up the list, right? So this function, first of all, gonna delete all of the buttons that are in the list, so we don't have any extra, and we're gonna begin with a new list every time. So it's gonna be public void setup craft list, which will do some simple thing. First of all, it will take for loop for all of the craft slots. Gonna be craft slots count. We're gonna destroy game object. Gonna destroy craft slot I game object. After that, we're gonna make a new list. So craft slot equals to new list of UI craft slots, and then we're gonna add new buttons according to the list of the equipment we want to craft. So it's gonna be for loop for craft equipment.count, craft equipment.count, and then we're gonna do game object new slot equals to instantiate craft slot prefab, and as a parent we're gonna take craft slot parent, and then we're gonna take this new slot, get access to it, and set up the craft slot. So new slot get component of UI craft slot, and we're gonna call function setup craft slot, and we're gonna pass item that we currently taking. So craft equipment.I. Nice. And basically that's all what we need to have, except one thing here. We need either a button component that will call this function, or we can use onPointerDown handler. Two options. Well, let's just take iPointerDown handler.
I'm gonna implement the interface in which we're just gonna do setup craft list. Good. Also, I just want to avoid any errors, so I'm gonna go to UI craft slot and say if data equals to null, then return. Very good. Now let's go and try this. We're gonna go back to Unity. I'm gonna take this setup craft list and drag the script on. Now we need slot parent, which is content here. All right, maybe let's rename it to craft slot parent, craft slots parent. Yeah, better. And the craft slot prefab, we have it on the prefab folder. So I'm gonna click locate over here, go to assets, prefab, UI, drag the craft slot. And we also need to set up craft equipment. Because this one is crafting weapon, we can go to assets, data, equipment, weapon, take all of the swords, because we need an example, drag them here. And for the craft slot, we're not gonna do anything, it's gonna fill it up automatically. We just make it visible so we can see it works. Good, I believe. Now let's unlock this and go to play mode. I'm gonna open craft panel and I'm gonna click this button. Boom. All right, we got this. We have Dracula sword, ice and fire, stolen sword. Icon wasn't showing for some reason. We're gonna check what's about that. Sprite, none. Okay, I'll double check. Let's double check now, actually. Oh, because I changed, my bad. I'm sorry, guys. Because I changed name in the Visual Studio, if you remember, now we need to assign values again. I'm gonna do it real quick. Okay, so I did reassign icons, and now I'm gonna test it again. Open it, click, boom, nice, love it, very nice, so it works. Now we need to make a functionality that will make craft window, which will have information about item, like detailed information, and when we click this, it's gonna fill up this window with information instead of just crafting the item. All right, so how are we going to do this? We're going to make a craft window panel. Let's close all of this, make UI image craft window. We're gonna make it like some water size. (750 by 600 by 650 by 450. Let's try 500. Okay, now we need a background for this. Let's go to graphics. UI. This one looks good. I'm gonna choose this one, green 17. Now let's make UI for item icon. So item icon gonna be there, and it's gonna represent some items. So I'm gonna choose any item so we can see how it looks. All right, now we need item description. So UI text mesh pro, item description. It's gonna be big, like so. Let's say it's gonna be in the middle. Item icon here, item description here, with the having like, I'm gonna align it in the center, and it's gonna have like +6 damage, +7 HP, +15 evasion chance. That's example. Then we need a UI item name. So it's gonna be item name, and I'm gonna move it above here, make it bigger as well. And let's say it's gonna be excellent weapon. All right. And then we need a UI panel. I mean, not panel, the grid layout, which will represent resources we're going to use to craft this. So it's gonna be long. Let's make it 400 by 100. And we're gonna place it here, give it a grid layout. And let's give it some kind of a background, some of the borders. And then inside we're gonna make 4 slots, image, material icon. And under that, I'm gonna make UI text,
material stack amount, right? So material icon gonna be here. Why it's not arranged by the, it is. Let's see, width 400, height 100. Let's do child alignment in the middle center, or maybe even middle left. And let's say we can have up to 4 resources, right? But first let's set up the icon. I'm gonna say, as example, we need this resource. And the stack amount gonna be in the corner, 5, top bottom part. Let's make it smaller, like so. And I'm gonna alignment in the center, and this is okay. Now let's try to duplicate them. So we have kind of 4 materials. Sorry, material icon, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one gonna be material list. Nice. And we need one big craft button. So I'm gonna make here UI button, craft button. Let's place it here and make it bigger. Maybe not so big, maybe 125 by 125, and we're gonna decrease material list size to something smaller, like 75 by 75. And also we need to change size of this. So height gonna be 75, and for the width, 75 multiplied by 4 is a 300. So like so. Yeah. For the craft button image, I did not decide yet what we can have there. Let's see if there is some anvil of some kind. Well, I'll just make a text craft. This one gonna be the font, word craft. And as for the background, we're just gonna choose something nice. And this should be white color. So now maybe we can make it slim like so, and just bigger, and font bigger. Yeah, good, right? Somewhat okay, I like it. Now we need a script that will set up all of these values to the values we have on the item. Let's go to craft window and add a script. And again, better do it from the folder so we don't have to arrange it later. UI C#, UI craft window, which we're gonna put on a craft window here. Good, let's go inside. Now we need to do serialize field, private text mesh pro GUI for the item name. Then we need item description. Then we need item icon, so private image of the item icon. Then we're gonna have list of the materials, which gonna contain image and text. And I will make it as an array of the images, and then I'll just get child of the component for the text for the amount, right? So it's gonna be like that. Serialize field, private image array, material image. Good. And then later we can just get component of a child. Yeah. Now let's make a function, public void setup craft window, which will take item data equipment as a data. Now we need to do a bunch of things that might feel confusing and might feel like a lot, but I think this is the easiest and fastest way to set up the window. So first of all, we're gonna take for loop for all of the material images. Material image dot length. Gonna take it and make it color clear, so it is not visible. So it's gonna be material image with a I dot color equals to color dot clear, and then we're gonna take text of that. So it's gonna be material image I dot get component in children of a text mesh pro. Because there is only one component of a text, we can do it this way. We're gonna do color equals to color dot clear. So when we set up the craft window, first of all, we wipe out all of the materials we have there. Then we need to set up materials if we have any. So I'm gonna do for loop
for the data craft materials, because if you remember on the item data equipment over here, we have a list of materials that we need if we want to craft the item. Good. So let's go back to craft window, and here we're going to do dot count, and then we're going to take material image. And remember, we can use only 4 materials at most in the way we set up it. All right. So if you have more materials, you need to either fix the craft window or, I don't know, just find your way to do it. But I highly doubt it's a good idea to make an item that you can craft from more than 4 materials. Even 2 or 3 is enough. I will, you know what, just in case, I'll make this if data crafted material dot count is bigger than material image dot length. I'm gonna do debug log warning. You have more materials amount than you have craft, then you have material slots in craft window. Yeah, just in case. Now let's go further and set up the slots. So we're gonna do one simple thing. We're gonna take material image with an i.sprite and set it to data crafting materials with an i.data.item icon. Then we're gonna take material image i.color, set it to color white. Then we're gonna take text. So we're gonna get a component of a text just like we did before. We're gonna make it color white. And I'm gonna duplicate it again and set up text. Dot text equals to data crafting materials I data stack size. Oh, just stack size. Yeah, stack size. And we need to turn it into a string, to string. And I think this looks a bit dirty, so maybe we can make some kind of text mesh pro GUI material slot text equals to, and we're gonna get component of this like so. And then here we can just use material slot text. And then here we can just use material slot text dot color. You know, a bit better, a bit easier to understand. Now we did set up materials in the list, so it is done. And next we need to set up image. So item icon equals to data item icon, then item name dot text, or this should be item icon dot sprite. And item name dot text equals to data item name, and item description dot text equals to data get description. Nice, love it. Now we need to assign function to that button, so we can actually click the button and it's going to craft the item. How we would do it? We could do it in many different ways. I offer you to get the component of a button, then add event to the click of this button. So what I'm gonna do is get serialized field, private game object, private button, craft button. First, we want to remove all listeners from this button, just in case. So it's going to be craft button, on click, remove all listeners. And then in the end, we're going to take craft button, on click, add listener. Then we're going to open parentheses, type one more parenthesis, put return sign, and then we need to put a function that we want to use when we click this button. And in this case, we're going to do inventory instance, and we're going to check if we can craft the item. And for this function, it requires an item data of the item we're trying to craft, so just data, and a required materials, so just data crafting materials. And that's it. Well, I love it. Supposed to work fine. Let's go back to Unity. We're gonna assign item name, item description, item icon, craft button, and material images. I'm gonna click this lock it so it's easier to set up. Go to material list, take these 4 items and drag them to the material image. Nice. Now we need to call this setup function from somewhere, and actually we're gonna call it from the craft slot over here. So on pointer down, instead of all of these, we're gonna get access to the UI, then craft window, then setup craft slot. So for that, we need to go to UI, make a public UI craft window, which we'll assign in the inspector. And then back in the craft slot over here, instead of all this, we're gonna do UI, craft window, setup, setup craft window, and we're gonna give it data of the item we have in the slot. So just item data as item data equipment. Nice. Let's go and set up this in the UI. Canvas, we're gonna assign craft window. And I believe that's it. Let's go and test this. I'm not sure if our items have the materials required, so let's make sure of that first. I'm gonna open my equipment, weapon, and see. Okay, so Dracula sword does not require any materials. Let's add couple. Let's add iron, 1, and let's say another iron, because we have only 2 materials at the moment. I don't want to waste time on making materials now. And animal skin, 3 for the ice and fire. Let's just put iron and animal skin. Oh, sorry. Let's say 5. Stolen sword. Let's try to put 15 here so we can see the difference. For the thunder claw, let's say animal skin 7 and iron 15. For the wooden sword, gonna be animal skin just 1. Okay, that's it. And also, I guess we don't have icons on the materials anymore, so we need to fix it. Yeah, that was my bad. I'm sorry. PG6. Let's find animal skin. Here it is. For the iron, what is the main object name should be match the asset file name. Fix object name, please. Good, and let's find it. PG6. Good. Now we can go to play mode. If I did not forget anything, we'll see. I'll try to do play maximize so we can see UI. Okay, I'm gonna open the window, click the button. We have list of the items. Now I'm gonna click some of these. And yeah, we got it. Small issue with the amount. It's okay, we're gonna fix it. But in general, all works good. Maybe we should try the craft. Here is your item wooden sword equipment. And now if I go to character, it is here, we have 2. And this just the lost icons, don't worry about it, it's fine, it's working. So now we have 2 wooden swords. I'll try to remove it, all of the items, go back to craft window, try to craft wooden sword again. I lost material, we can see now I have only 1, and in the equipment I have wooden sword, and I can equip it, and it fixes my stats, increases them. Nice. Oh, I see something. When I equip the item tooltip does not disappear. You can see? Huh. Okay, we can do a quick fix, then not a big deal. Let's do quick fix now. Gonna find the item slot, and at the place we equipping the item, we're gonna just do UI, item tooltip, hide tooltip. And also we need to do the same at the moment we equipping the item. So we're gonna go to UI equipment slot and type here UI item tooltip, hide tooltip. Good. Also, let's fix the font size amount. Let's find our material list. Then we're gonna take each element of the text like so and set font size to 24. Gonna click enter. And also let's check how big can be the name in this slot. So I'm gonna take, where is it? Sorry. Craft slot, item name, and I'm gonna put here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10 is okay and 11 is okay. All right, so more than 14, and let's use 12 as we did before, just in case. When we're doing setup of this slot, we can go to here and just check if item text.text.length is bigger than 12. Then we're gonna do item text font size equals to, let's take 80% of the font size, or maybe 70. So item text font size multiplied by 0.7, and else we're just gonna set it back to default, which was 24 if I remember it correctly. So item text font size equals to 24. Good. Now let's go and try all of this again. Should be fine. Gonna play maximized. Okay, so this looks okay. I'm gonna click the icon. The bigger name is now smaller in size. And if we click, we can see it fits 15. Good, very good. Now let's go to character and test. I'm gonna remove the item. Tooltip disappeared. If I equip it, tooltip disappeared. If I unequip, disappeared. Nice, love it. Good job here. Now let's work on this list. The last thing we need to do here is to double check what's up with materials, so there is no white icons. Second thing we need to do is to set up default list here, and we also need to make 4 more buttons for different type of amount. So let's do it quickly. We're gonna take this one, duplicate it 3 times, so in total we have 4. I'm gonna select them, create empty parent. It's gonna be craft list button holder. Let's increase the size of this and give it the grid layout component so it is pretty. Let's do child alignment in the center. Give it a bit of a spacing on the Y, maybe 15. Let's try to increase more, and let's give it some kind of an image. Let's go to graphics of the UI, find this craft list button holder, give it something to make it pretty. I like this one, looks good, very nice. Now let's change this to armor together with the icon. You know guys, I know this video is kind of long, but I decided to do all of these things at once in one video and just then move on to next topic. So I'm sorry if this video is kind of long for you. Let's select armor. Then for the third one, gonna be amulet. Gonna find amulet. This one looks good. And last one is a flask. Let's go find a flask. This one looks good, love it. Now we need a list for each of them, and we don't have many items for the flask. Let's say the flask has 3, also no icons, so we need to fix it. Let's do it and fix it quickly. Good, now let's select flask, lock it, make list of the equipment 0 and move all of the flasks there. Good, let's go to amulet, see what we have here. I'm gonna unlock it, we have only 1 amulet with no icon, by the way. And let's make a couple of more amulets. By the way, this one doesn't have any materials. Okay, let's make a couple of more amulets just in case. Golden ring. There was a golden ring icon. I cannot find it now. Maybe I should scroll slower. Yeah, so golden ring and ring. Let's copy the name, paste it in here. Make sure it is amulet and make sure it is equipment. And I don't know, let it be like some stats. Animal skin 5, strengths, health, defense, whatever. All right, and let's go make another one real quick. The book. It's equipment, amulet, icon. Let's say it gives you a lot of ice damage. It's a chilling book, you know. All right, let's take back to the setup craft list of the amulet, lock it, make it 0, and then move all of the amulets we just made here. Now let's go and do the last one, and I guess this is the armor tab. I'm gonna lock it, make it empty, then go to equipment of the armor and drag these 3 examples here. And we need to modify script by just a bit, so I'm gonna go back to Visual Studio, and in here we need to do a bit of a change. First of all, let's delete this assign craft slot. We don't need it anymore, and the craft slot list, we don't need it anymore as well. All right, and here we don't need list anymore as well, because now we have 4 items, so we don't have really a reason to control it under the list. But what we can do instead is just to delete all of the children under craft slot parent. Right, so we can just do craft slot parent child count, and we're gonna take all of the children and delete them. It's gonna be like that: destroy craft slot parent get child I dot game object. So we're gonna destroy this game object, and then we're gonna create a new one according to the amount of crafting equipment we have. Basically the same, just before we had a bit of a control over the items with the script, but now we don't have it, and maybe we don't even need it at the first place. Anyway, this is how it's going to work now. And also I want to set up default list, so we actually have at least some list set up when we first time opening the craft UI, because at the moment when we open craft UI for the first time, we can see just these white squares and sort. And also we need to set up this window as a default one. So what I'm going to do is, first at the start, I'm gonna go transform parent get child of 0 get component of craft list, and I'm gonna call setup craft list. So what it does, this craft list now is a child of a game object. Where is it? Here we have craft list with a script craft list, and all of them are a child of this game object. So we get in access of the transform of the parent, then we get in first child in the list, and then we call in setup craft list function from a first child here. All right, that's what we're doing. So in this way, when we open the game, the craft list is going to be set up to the craft equipment of the first child, which is weapon. And also I want to make a function, public void setup default craft window, which will take a craft window. So we can go UI craft window. We don't have access to UI here. Very bad. Okay, let's do get component in parent of the UI, and then we're gonna get craft window and call function setup craft window. And as item data, we can just pass 0 element of craft equipment. So craft equipment of 0. And we're gonna do it if craft equipment 0 not equals to null, like so. And we can go to start and type here setup default craft window. It's gonna be done only once, but it's gonna help us. Now let's go back to Unity and check this all together. As I said, we take in craft slot parent, we deleting all of the children at the start, and then we making new children according to the list we have in the craft equipment. So let's go there. Yeah, I guess I should do it in the first place, just like that, without the list of slots. So check this out. We have Dracula sword as the first weapon that you can craft, and their first list of weapons, and you can click between them and choose what you want. Very nice. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fix these icons by my own. I hope you know how to do it by now. I'll just do it after video, so it won't take much time on the video. And let's double check what's up with the slots in the materials. What is it happening here? I need to go to the inventory, find stash, and this one has missing data, but it has something. Why it is there? Maybe it is because we had empty list in the starting inventory. That's why. What if I delete these? All right, I see. Okay, let's do a quick fix to that. Let's go to assign start equipment, and I'm just gonna type if starting items I not
equals to null. Then we're gonna add item. Better. Well, I believe that's it for the craft UI. I know it was long, maybe about an hour or so, but I think it's totally worth it. Now we have a cool craft window which you can use. Also, you can modify this if you want, like, you know, make a better background maybe for this window, maybe arrange text on the description in a different way, like alignment to the left. Oh yeah, this looks better. And maybe, well, let's actually do it. Let's align it to the left and take item name, make it bigger. Yeah, good. I'll use 48 and I'll make it of some color. Should we use color for this? Let's make it bold. Let's increase the text box, by the way, just in case we have more of a description there. And let's decrease the font size, again, just in case we have more of a description, so to 28. It should be fine. All right, thank you for paying attention, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.